A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, transcribed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are standing in a lonely canyon in the shadows of Superstition Mountain, while facing you, tempers ragged, guns drawn, are three men who at your first move toward hidden treasure will kill you.
Today, with Paul Dubov, starred as Pascal, we escape to the Arizona desert and a lost treasure of $1 million, as Ralph Bates told it in his most unusual story, When the Man Comes, Follow Him.
Wrong. I know that now. But what good's it do? How could you tell dead men that it's all your fault and you're sorry? No matter what you tell them, they're still dead. So what's the use? It never would have happened if we hadn't got mixed up in this superstition business. We was going along fine. All the other boys in Frisco respected us, stayed out of our territory, at least most of the time. That was on account of the boss, Mr. Heineman. He was too smart for them, and they knew it. Smart, and a great guy along with it. Of course, some people might call him an ordinary racketeer, but he wasn't like that. Nobody could have treated me no better. And he was cultured, too, loved music. Played the violin almost as good as this fellow, Heifetz, or whatever his name is. Why, one time he sent me clear to New York to pick up a Stradivarius he'd heard about. And I had to hang around the dealer's store for 2 weeks before I got a chance to lift it. He wouldn't have trusted a job like that to any of the rest of the boys. He trusted me more than any of them. Me, Pascal. That's how come I feel so bad about what's happened. Because he trusted me. And he had to trust somebody, you understand. Because for 15 years, the boss had been stone blind.
Come on, Pascal. Eyes, man. Give me eyes.
But it's foggy down there, boss. I can't see the bay at all, just the end of the bridge. And out toward the Golden Gate, there's nothing but just fog. I guess it's going to rain.
What about the street below us, Pascal? What's going on down there?
Nothing. Just streetcars and taxis going up and down and a few people. Not very many. I tell you, boss, there's nothing doing at all. It's a very dull day.
All right, forget it. You can come away from the window.
Why don't you play the violin a while?
No, not today. I'm too restless. Something is going to happen, I think.
Happen? What's going to happen?
I don't know. Something. Are any of the boys here?
Brian and Daly in the next apartment playing gin rummy. You want I should call them?
No. I wonder if you know what it's like, Pascal, to live always in pitch darkness, depending on somebody else to tell you what's going on around you.
Ah, forget it, boss. You got me. I'm the eyes, you're the brain. We're doing all right.
Maybe, only sometimes I wonder...
I'll get it, boss, I'll get it. Mr. Heineman's apartment. Who? Well, I'm not sure whether Mr. Heineman...
Who is it?
Oh, I see. All right, thanks. That was the manager. Your brother's here from Phoenix.
Mark? He's downstairs?
Yeah. He's on his way up. The manager couldn't stop him. He says he looks like he's in pretty bad shape.
Ever see a desert rat that didn't?
No.
Well, so I'm to be honored by a visit from my sanctimonious brother.
I wonder what he wants.
Oh, money as usual, $300 or $400 to finance another 6 months of prospecting, and he'll repay it by telling me what an evil man I am.
I wouldn't give it to him, boss.
Why not? As long as it keeps him over there on the Arizona desert, most of the year, I can stand 1 or 2 visits from him. You can hear the elevator stopping. Better open the door.
I still say you ought to crack down on him.
Open the door. Hello, Mark.
Help
Come
me.
in.
Boss, he's hurt us something.
Me. What is it? Eyes, Pascal. Quick.
Hasn't shaved for 4 or 5 days. He's weak, trembling. Holding on to the doorframe with his right hand, holding his chest with the other hand. I think he's been shot, boss.
Yes. Shot.
Come here.
Help me.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Here, come on.
Over on the couch.
Okay. Come on. Here we are, boss.
Easy now.
There.
What happened, Mark?
I had to get here. I want you to have it. So he can't.
He's out of his head.
Get Brian and Daly over here. Brian knows a lot about gunshot wounds.
All right, boss.
What happened, Mark? Who shot you?
Shot.
Connect me with 907.
Had to get here.
Hello, Brian.
All that glitters is...
Right away.
All that... Fools. Oh, fools. Treasures of kings and princes... dying.
Mark, you've got to get hold of yourself.
Dying. Had to get here. You get it instead of him. Watch out for him.
Oh, Mark.
Map. Old map and a new map.
He doesn't even make sense.
Quiet.
Look.
Eyes, Pascal. What's he doing?
He's raised up a little. He's pointing with his finger at the carpet about 4 feet away.
When you get there, watch for it. When the man comes, follow him. Understand?
Sure, Mark. When the man comes, follow.
Yes. When the man comes, follow him.
What's he mean?
No.
Follow him.
What's up, boss? Pascal said you wanted me.
Come in, Brian. This is my brother. He's been shot. See what you can do for him.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. I've got to think. What could he possibly have stumbled into?
Yeah, this happened a couple of days ago at least. Should have had a doctor right away.
He wanted to get here for some reason. Why?
It's Daly, boss.
What's coming off in here? You're not cooking up something and leaving little Daly out of it. Ain't I in this, Mom?
Stop your barking, Daly, before I throw you a can of Strong Hot.
Don't get so smart now, Pascal. I got as much right to talk around here as you have.
I said shut up.
Uh,
The boss's brother is here. He's been shot. He's in bad shape.
Yeah, you're not kidding, Pascal. Matter of fact, he's about in as bad shape as he'll ever be. Boss, he's dead.
That was the start of the thing. When the doc came, he said Mark should have died 24 hours earlier. Said he stayed alive long enough to get to Frisco on sheer nerve, nothing else. Mr. Hyman, he don't say much. He let the doctor take charge of everything. There was a wallet and some other stuff in Mark's pockets. Mr. Heineman, he took it with him and went into his own room and stayed there. After a while, the other boys drifted back to their rummy game, and finally, about 10 o'clock, I went to bed. At 2 in the morning, I woke up to find Heineman shaking my arm.
Pascal, can you hear me? Pascal, come on, wake up.
Okay, boss. I'm awake. What's the matter?
I've been thinking. Got some ideas I'd like to talk about.
All right, I'm listening.
It's about Mark, the things he said. They begin to make sense.
Well, maybe to you, but not to me.
Look, is this what I think it is?
Oh, wait a minute, boss. I'll give it some light.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a map of a mountain range, I think. There's a lot of wavy lines like they use for valleys and ridges. There's some faded writing on it, brown ink. I think it's pretty old.
60 or 70 years at least, judging by the feel of the paper. Go on, Pascal. Describe it to me.
Well, it looks like a road runs across the bottom along the base of the mountains. And there's a spot on it marked Red Hill. And there's a wavy line starts there and runs about halfway up the map. It runs past some dots marked 3 trees. And off on one side is a little drawing of a shovel with a broken handle. And it ends at another spot marked camp.
It's probably a trail.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, the camp is beside a line that looks like the edge of a ridge or a cliff. And there's some writing that says, if no answer, go down.
If no answer, go down. What else?
Well, about a third of the way to the left from the camp, there's an X marked, and it says, man lives here. Up toward the top, there's another X. That's marked Thunder Peak. And at the very top, there's the word superstition. I guess that's about all.
Good. Later, I'll have you take my finger and trace over the whole thing until I know it by heart. But this is enough to start on.
To start what on?
A search, whatever caused my brother's death. Something rather valuable, if my thinking is correct.
All right. Only, how do we go about finding it?
Mark told us how. When the man comes, follow him.
You know what it means?
Not yet.
Well, if the map's 60 years old or more, how do you figure this guy's going to be there?
Because my brother found him and followed him and then died for it. We're going to follow him, too. You and I and Bryant and Daly. We're going to Phoenix.
Boss, I think maybe it's kind of a mistake to take Daly along.
Why?
Well, because he's a double-crosser. That's why I've been trying to tell you. You can't trust him.
Don't worry. I can handle him. He's not the one who has to be watched.
Then who is? Bryant?
Let's leave it for now. Call the ticket office and get 4 reservations on the next plane out. I've got the feeling we'd better move fast.
By the next afternoon, we checked into the Hotel Westwood Ho in Phoenix and started trying to get a line on Mark Heineman's recent activities. After 2 days, we still didn't have much to go on. He'd apparently hooked up with some new partner about 6 months before and gone into the desert. No one had seen anything of him since. An old man who ran a hardware store where Mark had bought tools and supplies finally gave us the tip-off without knowing it.
You see, Mr. Heineman, your brother was one of the fellows around here who believed in the legend of the Lost Dutchman mine. I figure that's what he was really prospecting for.
What is the Lost Dutchman mine?
It's supposed to be a deposit of gold, richer than it's ever been found. A real treasure of kings.
Treasure of kings? Boss, that's what he said. Quiet,
According to the stories, there's supposed to be a map in existence somewhere showing the exact location of the mine, drawn by the Dutchman himself. During the last 50 years or so, a lot of prospectors have gone back into the superstitions looking for it, but none of them...
What do you mean by superstitions?
Well, Superstition Mountains, out on the desert east of town. That's where the mine's supposed to be located.
Why are they called superstitions?
Guess because so many fellas have gone up into them and never come back. There's supposed to be an Apache curse on anybody goes in there. The range used to be sacred to the Indian god of thunder.
I see. And why do you think these men never came back?
Heat, thirst, got lost, snake bite. Oh, it's awful rough country, and there's no water. Then, too, there might be a kind of curse on the place at that. The double cross.
Meaning?
Well, blazing sun and a lust for gold can be a bad combination on a man's nerves. A lot of partners have come back out of those hills alone.
Double cross, huh? At least that's one curse that isn't limited to the superstitions. You'll find it in a lot of places. Well, we'd better go. Many thanks for your information.
Well, not at all, Mr. Heineman. Sorry I couldn't be of more help.
So that's what Mark found, a gold mine.
A rich one, maybe?
It must be. Mark was dying and he knew it, and yet all he talked about was treasure of kings. Gold, in other words. He didn't even tell us who shot him.
Maybe his partner did it.
Maybe. Pascal.
Yeah?
I want you to buy a pair of binoculars and rent a car.
Uh-huh.
We're going to drive out and try to locate that red hill this afternoon.
All right, boss.
The one thing we've got to watch out for is that curse. That's what happened to Mark.
Yeah, it's only an Indian superstition.
I'm talking about the double cross. Mark wasn't the first man to die from it, and I don't think he'll be the last. Here, Pascal, let me take your arm.
I rented an Ash sedan from the garage at the hotel, and we headed out across the desert east of town. It was late afternoon before we finally found it. The only red hill on the east slope of the superstitions. Mr. Heineman told me to take the binoculars and try to locate the 3 trees that were marked on the map. I left the car, worked my way around the far side of the hill, and almost to the top before I could see the trees standing close together on the shoulder of the ridge about 6 miles away. Just the way they were shown on Mark Heineman's map. I stared up at the pale blue peaks in the distance, watched the lightning flashes from near the tops of them, and shivered a little. Finally, I turned and started back to the road. Dusk had fallen fast, like it does in the desert, and it was nearly dark when I reached the car and opened the door. Mr. Heineman was slumped over in the seat with blood running from a cut in his forehead. He was unconscious.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, Ozzie and Harriet are back on CBS, coming to you on most of these same stations every Sunday evening, just before the Jack Benny Show. You'll find them more delightful, more welcome than ever. Ozzie and Harriet's own 2 boys, Ricky and David, are now playing themselves in the CBS series. So make it a family party with Ozzie and Harriet tomorrow night. And now, with our star, Paul Dubov as Pascal, and with Herb Butterfield as Mr. Heineman, we return to the second act of Escape and... When the Man Comes, follow him.
Boss, come on now, wake up. You're not hurt there.
Huh?
It's only a little cut in your scalp. Come on, boss. Come on.
Pascal?
Yeah, it's me. I'm here with you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Pascal. Did you see him?
No, I didn't see anybody. Who was it? What happened?
A man. Talked with a Texas draw, wearing Heavy boots with hobnails.
Uh-huh.
Came up on the side of the car next to the hill and poked a gun in my face. He knew who I was and that I was blind. He wanted the map.
Did he get it?
No. I put it under the floor mat when I heard him coming.
Good.
Tried to grab his gun. He slugged me. Started going through my pockets.
Uh-huh.
Ran off in the rocks when he heard you coming.
Well, it's dark up there now. No good trying to follow him.
Never mind. I know who he is.
Oh, did he tell you?
No, but it fits together. Mark had a partner.
This guy?
Sure. Who else could he be?
Then this is the guy who shot Mark.
I think so. I imagine there was a double cross and he got even, but... Wait. No, of course not.
What's the matter, boss?
Oh, what a fool I've been.
What do you mean?
I had it figured all along that Mark double-crossed his partner and got shot for it. It was the other way round.
Oh.
It was Mark's map. And this partner doesn't know the secret of it. He probably knows where the man lives, but 10 to 1 he doesn't know about following him. Pascal.
Yeah, boss?
Get the car started and head back for the hotel. We've got to get an outfit together and start up that trail tomorrow morning. There's no time to lose. Let's go.
At 9 o'clock the next morning, the four of us passed the Red Hill and started up the rocky trail that led toward the far-off heights of Thunder Peak. Brian and Davy each led 2 mules loaded with food and kegs of water, and I took care of Mr. Heineman. It was already hot, even at that time of morning, and boy, it got hotter. The line drawn on the map followed the crest of a ridge, but there wasn't really any trail. We wound around through tumbled masses of rocks and boulders, climbed over cliffs and gullies, and stumbled across crumbling slopes of debris that slid away beneath our feet and crashed down into the ravine. By noon, we would stop and rest every 10 minutes. Even the rest didn't do no good, because there wasn't any shade. By late afternoon, we'd covered only 6 miles, and we were done in. None of us had known how hot a desert sun could get. We were ready to turn back or fight one another at the least excuse. Yeah!
Come on. Move, you four-legged devil. Still worse for you than it is for me.
What's the matter, Daly? Your tongue's hanging out.
Let it hang. When I get back to Frisco, I never want to see the sun again.
It's good for you.
Nuts.
It'll give you a tan. Get rid of that fish belly San Quentin complexion of yours.
How would you like to have a bullet in the stomach, Pascal?
Go ahead and draw if you feel lucky.
Pascal, Daly, that's enough now. Cut it out.
Pascal started.
I don't care who started. That's enough. We're too close to $1 million worth of gold to have the whole thing loused up because somebody lost his temper.
You said $1 million?
That's right, Brian. According to the story, that's how much the Dutchman is supposed to have dug out of the mine and hidden before he was killed by Apaches without ever getting back to bring it out.
$1 million. Boy, what a man could do with $1 million.
Not $1 million, Davy. 25% of $1 million. That's the amount of your share, you know.
Yeah, sure. I know. I was just thinking.
Hey, look. Right ahead of us. We couldn't see him on account of the ridge. Trees! 3 trees!
Oh, boy, a little shade will sure cut.
What's wrong? Eyes, Pascal, what is it?
The trees, boss. The ones marked on the map. Only they're dead. Been dead for years, they look like.
Yeah.
There's not a square foot of shade under all 3 of them.
Well, can't be helped. At least it means we're on the right trail. Well, it's still the easiest way I know to get $1 million. Let's push on.
Two hours later, we came across a shovel with a broken handle stuck on the top of a pile of rocks, so we knew we were still heading in the right direction. The shovel had been drawn on the map. We stopped there for the night. A while after dark, the boss heard somebody in the rocks, so we put out the fire we built and took turns standing guard. And later, when the moon was up, I thought I saw something moving a short way off, but I couldn't be sure. Yeah, it was a creepy feeling, thinking I was being watched, not seeing anybody. All night long, I could see the flares of lightning and hear the low thunder from the top of the shadowy peak ahead of us. Was I glad when dawn finally came and we hit that trail again. But 2 hours later, I was wishing for sundown again. It was even hotter than the day before. And on top of it, all of us were so stiff and sore we could hardly move. We cursed and sweated and stumbled through the long, blazing day. Finally, at dusk, we reached the spot marked camp on the map. It was close to the edge of a straight-walled cliff that yawned over a deep box canyon below. There were signs of campfires and burro tracks. This place had been used before. Yeah, we were too tired to care. Not even bothering to unsaddle the mules, we drank from one of the kegs and dropped down in the shade of a rock ledge, not able to move any further. After about an hour, the sun slipped behind the ridges to the west and left us in a shadow. The boss got us onto our feet, put Brian to search for something to use for a fire, and told Daly to unpack the mules. He took me with him to scout along the rim of the cliff and try to find out what was meant by the words on the map. If no answer, go down. After half an hour, we found nothing, and we were ready to decide there was no way to go down that 1,000-foot rock wall when suddenly...
That was a shot. You see anything?
No, it was back toward camp, but there's a ridge between us. I can't see a sign of any...
Come on, Pascal.
Yeah.
Take hold of my arm.
Okay.
Let's get back there fast.
Who is it? Come on. Speak up or I'll shoot.
Relax, Brian. It's us.
That's Pascal and the boss. Did you see anybody?
No, what happened?
Somebody took a shot at Daly. He got all spooked up and fired off half a clip.
It was that guy that's been following us, boss. I saw him in the rocks not 100 feet away.
And you missed him, I suppose.
Well, it was dark.
Hey, what happened to the mules? They're gone.
Yeah, they stampeded when Daly fired off that gun in their ears.
That's great. We'll have a fine time packing 5 kegs of water and all the supplies on our backs.
Yeah, well...
Boss, we don't have 5 kegs of water. There's only one here.
One? I hadn't unpacked the mules yet, boss. I was going as soon as it got a little cooler.
Fool, you stupid, lazy, blundering fool.
That's what I've been telling you, boss. All the brains this dope's got...
You shut up, Pascal. I'm a crack at
Daly, I could kill you and love it. I could stand here and pump bullets into you and love it. Do you know how long a man can live up here without water? 24 hours at the most.
But we still got 5 gallons of water. I didn't know they were going to run off. How could I...
Shut up! It's done. That's that. Go see if there's any chance of finding them. And try to keep from getting yourself shot. I go with him, Brian.
Okay, boss. Come on, smart boy.
If you don't find them in 20 minutes, come on back. 5 gallons of water for 4 men. It'll take us a full day to get down into that canyon and find the spot where the man lives. Another day to get back here, if we're lucky. And 2 more days back to the road. I guess we can just barely make it.
There's only one thing, boss. There's no way to get down into that canyon.
I think I've got the answer there. At least that's one thing that shooting did. Listen.
Hello! Hello!
Sure. It's an echo.
If no answer, go down.
Yeah.
I think we'll find a spot someplace along the rim of that cliff where there's no echo. When we do, I think there'll be some way to get down to the bottom. We'll try it in the morning. And one other thing, Pascal, before they come back.
Yeah, boss.
From here on, keep an eye on Bryant. I think that gold is beginning to look pretty big to him.
I think maybe you're making a mistake. I think Daly's a lot more likely to try something. He's a born double-crosser.
No. He's a fool and a coward. But Bryant's the one who's dangerous. And you do as I tell you. And watch out for him. Do you understand?
All right. Sure, boss. Whatever you say. An hour after dawn the next morning, we found a spot on the edge of the cliffs where there was no echo. Slanting downward from it was a narrow, steep crack in the wall. The 4 of us took turns packing our one last keg of water and inched our way down toward the canyon floor 1,000 feet below. We made it finally, rested, then struck out to the west following the map. Great chunks of rock lay tossed about as though giants had played there, and thorn and cactus grew everywhere among them. The sunlight curled and blistered on the surface of the boulders, and always from above us and nearer now came the sullen and ominous roll of thunder. At noon, we stumbled across the bed of the ravine, nearly missing it from being half blinded by the heat. And 3 hours later, we found the place where the man lives. It was marked by a monument built of broken rock stacked up higher than our heads. Mr. Heinemann felt all over the surface of it with his hands and then told us he knew the meaning of the words, "When the man comes, follow him." But he said it wasn't time yet. We'd have to wait. We sat there by the pile of stones, not talking much, just waiting. 2 hours passed. I think it was Daly who noticed it first.
Look. Look there on the ground.
There's somebody here. He's behind us.
Hit the dirt!
I don't see any. So that's it.
Boys, I'm a little disappointed in you. Scared by a shadow.
Look at it. It's the shadow of that pile of rocks. Looks just like a man with a hat on holding a gun.
Yeah. The rock pile don't look like a man, but the shadow does.
Well, since he's apparently come now, I guess we better follow him.
Huh?
How do you mean follow him?
The sun's going down. The shadow must be getting longer, stretching out over the ground. So get going. Follow the direction it's pointing.
Yeah, boss.
Pascal will stay here with me and keep you on line. Watch for signs of something buried, rocks laid over it, or cleared space, something of that kind.
Okay.
We're not more than a few feet from $1 million. Let's get it.
The two of them worked their way along through the rocks while I stood by the monument and waved them toward one side or the other. Part of the time they were out of sight behind a ledge of boulder. An army could have hidden in that broken mess and never been noticed. I kept describing everything that was happening to the boss. And about 20 minutes went by before I heard Daly shout.
We found it! Gold! It's here! We found it!
He scrambled over a ledge and came running toward us, calling out and holding something in his hand. Then about 100 feet away from us, he stopped suddenly and drew his gun.
Pascal, what is it? What's happening?
Daly's pulled the gun on us, boss. Drop it, Daly! Drop it or I'll shoot!
No, Pascal! He's in between us, you fool! He's hiding in the rock!
All right, Daly, you asked for it. Pascal, no! I got him, boss. The dirty double-crosser. You fool! He was going to kill us, boss. He was coming at us with a... Wait, somebody staggered out of the rocks there and fell. Somebody I never saw before.
My brother's partner, the man who's been following us.
But then Daly killed him, and I killed Daly. Boss, I thought Daly was shooting at us. I didn't know there was anybody else there.
Well, you know now. I told you to keep an eye on Bryant. What's happened to him? Pascal, where's Bryant?
Right behind you, suckers.
Look out, boss! How's he shooting, Bryant? I got him, boss. He missed me, and I got him.
Good. Only he didn't miss me.
Boss! No, boss.
Pascal, can you hear the thunder?
Yeah, sure. It's real loud.
That's funny. Same old curse. Double cross.
It's my fault, boss. I should have done like you told me and watched Bryant.
$1 million in golds for somebody else.
Don't talk like that. It's for us, for you and me. I'll get you out, boss. You're not really hit bad, you know.
Man, I'm dying. And you too, Pascal.
What?
You're going to die too.
What? What do you mean?
A water keg. Bryant's bullet. Smash it. I heard the water running out.
Huh? No.
Am I right?
Yeah. It's all gone.
It's 3 days out to the highway, Pascal. And you don't have any water. You poor devil. You don't have one single drop of water.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have presented Transcribed. When the Man Comes, Follow Him by Ralph Bates. Adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Starred as Pascal was Paul Dubov, with Herb Butterfield as Mr. Heineman. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Jeff Corey, Barney Phillips, and Junius Matthews. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
You're standing on the rolling deck of a pirate junk in the China Seas, and facing you is the sinister figure of the most feared man in the Orient, a general who has just doomed you to death.
Next week, we escape with an unusual story, The General Died at Dawn by Charles Booth. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. It's wonderful, truly amazing, how much you can get from just one radio program. The unbounded passion of the world's greatest Don Juan, the unrivaled music of the world's most eminent soloist, an unsurpassed lesson in philanthropy. Also, some of the greatest laughter you'll ever hear. For the program is The Jack Benny Show. Be sure to hear Jack Benny and his gang again Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time over these same CBS stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for 5 minutes of the latest news, to be followed by the Let's Pretend program over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, transcribed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are standing on the rolling deck of a pirate junk in the China Seas, and facing you is the sinister figure of the most feared man in the Orient, a general who has just doomed you to death.
Today, with Bill Conrad starred as O'Hara, we escape to China and the gripping story of pirate treasure, as Charles Booth told it in his fascinating novel, The General Died at Dawn.
China was spitting me out like a cherry pit. I was sitting that afternoon on a bench in the strip of park that fronts the harbor of Shanghai. And all I had in my pocket was an English shilling, and it was counterfeit. Well, I sat there and stared at a ship in her berth at the Asia-Pacific docks. She was a crack liner named Pearl of the Orient, due to sail at 11 the following morning, Europe-bound, by way of Suez. Well, bitterness, a counterfeit English shilling, a need for physical action. All of a sudden, they melted into each other and bubbled into an idea. I left the harbor and made my way to Frenchtown, to a narrow street of 2- and 3-story buildings, and into one of them, and up a shabby stair and along a dim corridor to a door with Mark Ramsgate printed on it in gold letters. Ramsgate, I've come for the 1,500 you owe me.
Would you mind shutting the DOOR? There's a simply killing draft.
The 1,500, Ramsgate, I want it now.
Aren't you the persistent one, though? Now, where was it you say you advanced me this huge sum of money?
Chungking 4 years ago.
Oh, yes, Chungking. I was in a nasty mess with the police, and you simply flew to my aid as a fellow American. Isn't that it? Delicious. But too fantastic.
Start counting out the money, Ramsgate.
Will you listen to the man? I'm a private investigator, Mr. O'Hara, not a banker or a missionary.
I am not the most patient man on the China coast, Ramsgate.
Mr. O'Hara, can you crack a walnut between your forefinger and thumb? I can. You see? Would you mind leaving now? I've scads of things to do.
What's this?
Careful. That's Ming.
No?
Yes. Gorgeous, isn't it? I use it for a goldfish bowl.
It's empty.
I didn't feed them. They lasted 6 days.
Well, if you have no goldfish, you don't need the bowl.
I'll smash you for that.
I can be smashed. Try it. He was strong and very fast, and he wore an enormous ring, which was damaging whenever he landed a punch. But he'd lost his coolness, his best asset, really. And it didn't last very long.
Do you treat all your visitors like that, Mr. Ramsgate?
Huh? Oh. Hello. Come in. Shut the door. Have a seat, Miss...
Mrs. Mallory.
Irene Mallory?
Why, yes. May we speak privately, Mr. Ramsgate?
Well, my friend on the floor is fast asleep. What can I do for you?
I came to ask you to locate someone for me. A man here in Shanghai. There's a job to be done, and he's the one for it.
Oh? What's his name?
O'Hara. Gerald O'Hara. Do you know him?
Yes. Who sent you to me?
Papa Conti.
No?
O'Hara was at the Hotel Conti this morning, broke, and told Papa he expected to collect some money from a man named Ramsgate. Has he been here?
He's been here. I can find him for you, but it's going to be expensive. My fee will be $1,500.
Mm-hmm. 5 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here you are.
Thank you.
Please work very quickly. Very quickly.
Is there anything I can tell him concerning the job for which he is the one?
Yes. Tell him it involves General Yang, Yang's business agent, and $500,000 in gold. I'll be waiting at the Hotel Conti, Mr. Ramsgate.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, you play the loveliest hand of poker, Mr. O'Hara. Got the 1,500 you came for, didn't you?
Well, you bounced back fast. How much did you hear, Ramsgate?
That's for me to know, you to find out.
I will.
Good afternoon, Mr. O'Hara. Good afternoon. Would you mind closing the D-double...
Door. Well, I had what I came for, all right. I would argue the ethics of it with myself when the planks of the Pearl of the Orient were beneath my feet. I was on my way to an atmosphere that didn't rot a man's brain with the dampness of things dead and done. I turned into Nanking Road and stopped in front of the Asia Pacific office. In the plate glass window, the Gerald O'Hara who'd helped build the Trans-Siberian Railroad, who'd gone after ivory and rubies and gold, that Gerald O'Hara took a look at the Gerald O'Hara who'd rooked Irene Mallory out of $1,500. And then I hailed a rickshaw and told the boy to take me to the Hotel Pierre Conti.
Ah, Gerald, my friend. Ça marche?
Ça marche, Papa Conti, ça marche. Do me a favor. Will you have Mrs. Mallory paged and brought here and let me use this office for a few minutes?
But of course. Hello. The front desk? Who? You Mallory Conyo Laigo. Saji Lau.
Papa, about the money I owe you, I thought I'd have it for you today, but my lead blew up. I'm sorry.
He is sorry. We have known each other all these years. You bear the scar of a knife that was meant for me, and you expect me to press you for money? Huh? Gerald.
Well, it's a bill, and it's got to be paid.
Then let me worry about it. There's no point in us both worrying, huh? Oh, that will be Mrs. Mallory. There's cognac on the desk. Visitor for you, my friend. See you later, Gerald.
Good evening, Mr. O'Hara.
Oh, I suppose Conti told you who I was.
No, I recognized you this afternoon.
Oh. Here's the money you gave me.
Oh?
Do you know what the odds were when you handed it to me of your ever seeing me again? I was ready to cut my best friend's throat for the price of a ticket west.
Wouldn't you prefer to leave with a good bit more than that?
Oh, the $500,000 you mentioned?
Yes. Would you, care to hear about it?
Well, perhaps care is too strong a word, but I'll listen.
There's a man named George Martell registered here. He's General Yang's business agent. Do you know him?
Your eyes are lovely. I like your eyes.
Yang had $500,000 worth of gold bars here in Shanghai. Can you guess why he kept his funds in bullion?
Well, it'd be hard to abscond with almost half a ton of gold.
And Martell has been converting that into American dollars for some time now. But there are two things he doesn't know. Yang is aware of what he's doing, learned about it last week. And Yang will be here in Shanghai tonight.
Well, Yang enjoys a good deal of tolerance in this city, but he's still an outlaw with a price on his head. He has no legal recourse.
He's got thumb screws and jackboots. Don't you see what I'm getting at? Martell's life isn't worth a grain of rice once Yang arrives.
Yang's here now.
What?
He's here now. I saw Sergeant Wong, his ADC, dressed as a coolie down at the docks this morning.
All the better. Unless Martell shares the money with us, we won't help him escape from Shanghai. You could arrange a way out for him, couldn't you?
Oh, yes. I know ways, but I'm not the man for the job, Mrs. Mallory. I'm as empty as a sucked egg. I'm tired, very tired. I just want to crawl out of Asia. I'm sorry.
No pride?
None.
Certain?
Positive.
Not even enough to resent that? Or this?
Why, you little...
You're hurting my wrist, O'Hara.
Come here to me. Where's Martell now?
In the bar. Then he goes to dinner. That's his routine.
You know his room number?
Yes.
Well, lead me to it. Was that the last valise in the closet?
Yes.
Well, we know now that Martell doesn't keep the money in his room.
That would have been too obvious.
No, never be deceived by the obvious, my dear. The techniques of hiding and finding haven't changed since Poe stated them in the purloined letter. Our next move...
Someone's coming down the hall.
No, out with the light.
What the hell?
Shh. Behind the screen. What perfume do you use? It's marvelous.
Well? Oh, what a heavenly room you have, Mr. Martel. My, so comfy.
Get to the point, Mr. Ramsgate. What is it you wanted to speak to me about?
General Yang, the Shanghai Fund, what do you intend to do with them?
Have you been prying into my affairs?
Just an old busybody, aren't
Ramsgate.
I? Don't try for a gun. Just don't.
What is it you want?
All the money you have.
And the alternative?
I'll tell Yang of the naughty thing you've done.
Mr. Ramsgate, I beg you.
No. Either give me the money or be prepared to face Yang and tell...
O'Hara. Hello, George. Irene, see if Ramsgate has a gun.
Okay.
George, have you met Mrs. Mallory?
O'Hara.
Here's the gun.
Oh, good. Now see if George has one. Easy,
Okay.
George.
Here it is.
All right, now put it in your purse.
Yeah.
George, you know me, don't you? I mean, you know me.
Yes, I know you, O'Hara.
Were you going to accept Ramsgate's offer?
I think that
Wouldn't have done you any good. Yang has a price on your head right now, didn't you know? Oh, yes. Ramsgate would have taken your money and turned you over to Yang anyway.
Well, I thought that I'd be able to think of some scheme while Yang was on his way.
On his way? Yang's in Shanghai right now.
No.
Look, now, here's
O'Hara,
our proposition. 1/3 apiece to each of us, and I'll help you escape.
1/3?
To each of us, 1/3 to you. You better take it, George.
Well...
But tomorrow morning, Yang will have blocked every exit from Shanghai you could think of. You need us, George. And you know, I always fulfill my end of the contract.
Help me, O'Hara. Help me, please.
You accept?
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
Now, where's the money? I want it in my hand before I so much as make a move in your favor.
Please. It's not here. In the hotel, I mean. It's in the safe in my office in the Rue Montalverne.
Well, let's go after it, George. Let's go after it. We left the Hotel Conte. I hailed a taxi, and George gave the driver the address. It was just past the dinner hour, and the night traffic was thickening. Across the harbor, I could see the lights of the Pearl of the Orient. Tomorrow morning, I thought to myself. Tomorrow morning, I'd be on deck, taking a last long look at China, with a fortune in my pocket. Irene followed my glance and then smiled up at me and squeezed my arm. You ever been to France, Irene?
Yes.
You know the stretch along the coast of Normandy between Honfleur and Trouville?
No?
I'd like to show it to you sometime.
I'd like to see it sometime.
Good. We got out at the shabby end of the Rue Montalverne. Martel was trembling so violently that I had to take the key from his hand and open the door myself. Easy, George. Now, just take it easy.
I'm in a bloody blue funk, O'Hara.
Yeah, we know the feeling, George. Now, where's the money?
It's in the safe. Small valise in the safe.
Oh, get it.
You really can get me out of Shanghai?
Look at me, George. I really can, can't I?
Right. Now then, left 22.
You know, there's a drink they drink in Normandy called Calvados, a brandy. Did you ever taste it?
No.
Really? Vast horizons will soon open for you, I think.
There we are.
Have you got it?
Yep.
Here, I'll take it. Now, where's the key? The bag's locked.
Oh, right here. Well, I always carry it. O'Hara.
What?
Face at the window.
Oh, the light.
Shoot, O'Hara!
Well, I don't think I hit anything. Let's get back to the hotel. The street was deserted as we left Martel's office. I expected almost anything, but nothing happened. Nothing at all, except that I slipped on the broken glass scattered about the sidewalk and almost broke my neck. And we took a taxi back to the Hotel Conte. No, we won't go to your room, George. Irene, we'll hole up in yours.
Do you think we're safe here?
Well, it's relative. We're safer in the Conte than any other place else in Shanghai. Not that that's saying much. At least we have an ally here, Papa Conte himself. In you go, George.
Thanks.
Now, Irene, here's the money. Don't let this valise out of your sight for a moment. Take the gun out of your purse now. You know how to handle it?
Some.
Sit down, George.
Yeah.
No, not on the chair.
Huh?
Sit on the floor, facing the wall. Now, look, Irene, you've got a double job. Keep George and the money in and everyone else out.
Understood.
O'Hara, You're not going.
Well, I have to arrange your exit. Do you expect me to do it by telegram? Oh. Well, that reminds me. I'll need that 1,500 of yours again. How much do you weigh?
118.
Delicious.
Here's the 1,500.
You'll be repaid out of George's end of the cut. Well, I'll be going now. I'll be back in about, 3 hours at the latest. Lock the door after me. I'll see you soon.
Take care of yourself, O'Hara.
Right. Wish I could think of something entirely reassuring, but all I can come up with is this. I think we've got a 50-50 chance of making it. They'll tell you Shanghai is the coldest-blooded, most cynical city in the world. Has none of the charm of Paris, nor the comfort of London, nor the youth of New York. But as I made my roundabout way to the docks, past the food shops and the dens and the coffin makers and the honky-tonk joints, I suddenly no longer cared about that. I felt vaguely excited and eager for the next moment. And then finally, I found the man I was looking for after a tour of the bars. He was a big, bearded Swede named Nelson, the owner and captain of an old bum freighter. And after an hour or so of negotiation, we had it straight. He'd have a taxi driven by himself, parked near the alley 2 blocks from the Conti, ready to pick Martel up at dawn and carry him to the ship. 1,500 down and another 15,000 from Martel when he was safe on deck. And that was that. I was back at the hotel by 2:30. Irene, it's O'Hara. Irene! I put my ear to the door and listened. Nothing. I grasped the knob to shake it, and the door swung open. The lights were on, and the room looked as though a tornado had gone roaring through. Bureau drawers open, clothes flung out, luggage slashed, and Martel lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, his face ripped badly, his hands and legs tied tightly. I walked over and put my fingers to his neck. He was dead. A small valise lay next to him on the pillow. It was open and empty. Made my way to the bathroom. Irene.
O'Hara.
Turn off that water.
I was trying to stop the bleeding.
Give me the towel. Now come on in the other room. What's happened?
I don't know. A couple of hours after you left, there was a light knock at the door, and a voice that sounded like yours said, "Open the door."
Yeah?
Well, don't look at me like that. It was time for you to be back, and I had the gun. I opened the door just a crack, and suddenly a hand appeared, and it turned out the light, and that's all. When I came to, it was the way it is in there, and I had a bump on my head.
The money's gone.
I know.
Have any idea who did it?
No, none. It could have been anybody.
Could have been you.
O'Hara.
Why not? You had the chance, and as you say, you had the gun. It could have been you.
Yes, and it could have been you, but I don't think it was.
Connect me with Mr. Conti, please.
O'Hara.
Hello, Papa Conti. This is O'Hara. Look, will you come to Mrs. Mallory's room immediately, please? Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well, I want to speak to Papa Conti. He's probably the wisest man in Shanghai.
Do you think I did it?
I didn't say you did. I said it could have been you, and it could have, too. But I want to talk to Conti. There are things that bother me about the whole deal. I connect it in some way with slipping on the broken glass in front of George's office and George being beaten to death. Now, why should anyone have done that? The money was there and George was tied securely. Why beat him? And something about George's having to depend on me for a getaway. I always considered him a very cautious and careful man. He had the money. Surely he would have planned his own escape long before I ever... Well, that's probably Conti. I'll get it.
Gentlemen, it is I.
Come in, Papa.
Good morning, Mr. O'Hara.
Ramsgate.
Get inside, Papa Conti. All clear, General. O'Hara.
Hello, Yang.
You, Ramsgate, close the door. All righty. See if O'Hara is on. Pleasure. I have it, General. So, the dog is dead.
And the bone is buried.
Oh, I will find the bone.
Well, first you must find the other dog.
Perhaps I'm looking at him.
Try to prove it.
If you do not kill Martel, why have you not sent for the police?
Shall I telephone them now?
O'Hara, what would you do if you were in my position?
Well, I'd search the luggage and personal property of all of those here. Then if I didn't find the money, I'd question us, all of us, including Ramsgate. And if I didn't find what I was looking for, I'd make my apologies and look elsewhere.
It is good advice. I'll accept it. Conte, you have a baggage truck in your garage. Go outside, give the key to Sergeant Wong. And no tricks, Conte. My men are at every entrance and every floor. Ramsgate.
Yes, General.
Go with Conte. Tell Sam Fu to take a squad of men, pick all the baggage belonging to Mrs. Mallory and Papa Conte and George Martel. Bring it to my headquarters. Tell them to take also Martel's body.
Yes, General. Come along, Conte.
O'Hara, you and Mrs. Mallory will come with me.
Where to?
To the pier of Yin Louis and Company on Suzhou Creek.
And then?
To my Shanghai headquarters. The Lao Ping, a seagoing junket, lies in the anchorage. Come, O'Hara. Come.
It's almost 4 o'clock. How long do you intend to keep us aboard, Yang?
The money is neither upon your person nor among your belongings. I must now persuade you to talk. Will you do so willingly?
And if we do not?
I will turn you over to my bodyguard. You have heard of them?
Who hasn't?
What have you heard?
Oh, something about your destiny being their destiny and their lives being your lives, and that they would do anything under heaven that you commanded?
That is correct. Will you talk, O'Hara?
Look, General, I know nothing of Martel's death or the location of the money, as I've already told you.
Mrs. Mallory.
I can't add anything to what I've already said.
Nor can I.
Martel has been silent. Pity.
General, aren't you going to ask Ramsgate?
Ask me? Why? Well, the General and I understand each other thoroughly. Don't we, General? It was I who told the General where to find you all. Didn't I, General? What could he possibly ask me?
Well, during the past hour, I thought of one or two things he might ask you. Yang, you've noticed the cuts on Martel's face.
Notice them now?
Have you noticed the cuts on mine?
They are alike.
And have you noticed the ring Ramsgate wears?
General, Excellency, there's a conspiracy to injure me in your eyes.
Let me see the ring. Let me see it.
Excellency.
Still flecked with blood. You killed a dog.
Yes, Excellency, I did, but only to avenge you. Only to avenge you.
Where is the money?
I don't know. I swear I don't know.
You lie.
No. When I opened the valise the woman was guarding, it was empty. It was empty. No. Oh, General. General, don't touch me. Don't touch me!
Yang, look out, he has a knife.
Oh, God. Excellency, no, I didn't mean to... No, don't shoot. Oh, Excellency, don't shoot!
O'Hara, what is he ordering him to do?
Something about killing us.
O'Hara!
Shh. Yang, this is the thing I never expected to see. A man of destiny stabbed by a fat fool while his bodyguard, his loyal bodyguard of 12, stands by and watches.
You'll find it amusing. And before I die, you and your friends will be dead. Can you laugh at that also?
Perhaps, but not as much as all China will laugh at Yang's loss of face. China will laugh for centuries to come at the story of how Yang was killed while his devoted bodyguard lived.
China will not laugh at Yang. My bodyguard will not live. They will have shot one another.
At whose command?
At my command. It will be their will also. They have lost face too, and unbearably. Can they continue to live?
No one will believe that your bodyguard, foolish enough to let you be stabbed, would obey a command to kill themselves. Your name will be a laughing stock.
No.
They will joke about you in the tea houses.
No.
Your sons will die of shame.
No.
And why? Because 12 dead fools with rifles in their hands will be all that you have to speak for you.
No, you lie. You lie. I will show you. Otik ping! Koi! You go! See how they line up facing each other, 6 to 6.
They face each other, but they do not aim at each other.
You see how they take aim at each other, O'Hara.
They take aim at each other, Yang, but they do not fire.
They will. They will when I command. Now watch, and you will see a thing to make you marvel. To marvel again whenever you remember Yang. Call Paul! Was Yang not right? Was he not right?
This is it. Goodbye, Papa Conte.
Goodbye, Gerald, and much good luck. And to you also, Mrs. Mallory.
Thank you, Papa Conte. I'll send you a piece of the wedding cake.
Do that, yes?
Thanks for everything. I'll repay you the loan as soon as I can.
Of course. Gerald and Mrs. Mallory, could you stand a rather bitter joke upon yourselves?
No? What's that?
About the money you two sought. A letter came for George Martel this morning. It is from a brokerage firm here in Shanghai. It says, Dear George, this is to confirm our conversation of this morning. Unless you can raise $40,000 additional margin, we will be forced to sell you out. We regret doing this to so good a customer, especially in the light of the $500,000 loss you suffered these last 2 months. But business is, etc., yours sincerely. You understand, Gerald?
Yes, I thought it might be something like that. That's why he didn't arrange for his own escape. Each day he expected to recoup his losses.
And he tricked us in his office on the Rue Montreville. He didn't want us to learn the valise was empty, and so he pretended to have seen that face at the window.
Yeah, that's right. And then when we put out the lights, he must have thrown something through the glass, a paperweight or the like. Now, that's what puzzled me about the broken glass. It was on the sidewalk and not in the room.
It was also why Ramsgate killed him. He couldn't make Ramsgate believe his story.
Yeah. Papa Conte, may I have the letter? I'd like it for a souvenir.
Oh, but of course.
Thank you.
Well, au revoir, Gerald. Au revoir, ma belle. I wave to you from the shore.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Papa.
No regrets, O'Hara?
Regrets? None. No regrets for the past, and no doubts for the future.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have presented transcribed The General Died at Dawn by Charles Booth, adapted for radio by Walter Newman, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Starred as O'Hara was Bill Conrad. Featured in the cast were Estelle Dodge, Larry Dobkin, Ben Wright, John Daner, Jack Crucian, and Peter Prouse. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week, we escape with the unusual story, The Great Impersonation, by E. Phillips Oppenheim. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet are now heard every Sunday night on most of these same CBS stations, just before the Jack Benny Show. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for 5 minutes of the latest news and the Let's Pretend program, which follow immediately over most of these same CBS network stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? You want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, transcribed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
It is September of 1939. The Germans are about to march into Poland, and you are standing in the English manor house with a complete list of Nazi agents in your possession. While facing you, guns drawn, are three people who, to get that list, would gladly kill you.
Today, with Ben Wright starred as Sir Everard Dominey, we bring you an exciting story of super espionage, as E. Phillips Oppenheim told it in his fascinating novel, The Great Impersonation.
Incredible. Von Ragenstein, this is incredible. He is drunk?
Dead drunk. He is seldom otherwise.
Hold the light closer to the cut so I can see you better.
Here.
Truly incredible, von Ragenstein. You and he are as alike as... Well, I would swear it was you lying here on the cot.
Yeah.
Hair, nose, mouth, everything like a smudged and smeared portrait of yourself. Identical features.
And we have the same color eyes, and there's not an inch of difference in our height.
Where did you find him?
Oh, he staggered into camp 3 days ago. He had been hunting lion upriver until his boys deserted him. He had not paid them in several months, I gather. I sent a runner to fetch you at once.
That is something I shall have to report to Berlin as a serious breach of discipline von Ragenstein. You were to avoid all contact with me except through the usual channels.
But, Dr. Schmidt, may I...
Permit me to finish. Obedience to orders is as necessary in the Secret Service as it is in any other branch of the German army.
I understand.
I have spent 20 years here in Tanganyika, establishing myself as a harmless old archaeologist. During that time, I have created an espionage organization second to none, right under the noses of the English. And not once have they suspected me. Is all that to be ruined because you choose to engage in a little frolic of your own?
This was not a frolic. Sir, I weighed the risk very carefully and considered it worthwhile. I believe you will agree with me when I tell you that this man is Sir Everard Dominey, an English baronet, and that we attended Oxford together. Shall I continue?
Yes, continue, von Ragenstein.
He is a ne'er-do-well. He lives on a small sum that comes to him each month from his estate in Norfolk. He has been here in Africa almost as long as I, 11 years. Oh, but I could go on for hours. I know as much about him as he does himself. And I've been thinking
that you could go to England as Sir Everard Dominey, and no one there would be the wiser.
Dr. Schmidt, a German agent in England, operating at the highest social level.
Would be invaluable, I agree. But
what, sir?
The proposal raises 3 questions in my mind.
So?
What about the assignment upon which you are engaged here?
A certain flexibility is necessary in these matters.
And how will Dr. Goebbels feel about your leaving Africa?
Surely by this time he has either forgiven me or forgotten the entire incident.
You don't know the little doctor if you think that. When someone steals away one of his women, as you did, what was her name?
Stephanie Strom.
Yeah, as you did, Stephanie Strom. He never forgets and never forgives. But I will undertake the responsibility for initiating your plan. Prepare to leave for England at once. You will receive further orders before you embark.
Thank you, sir.
I must go now. There are many arrangements to be made.
Sir, you said that there were 3 questions raised in your mind.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering what to do with this Englishman. Kill him as soon as possible and dispose of his body. Good luck, von Ragenstein. Heil Hitler.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Heil Hitler. That night, a new Sir Everard Dominey was born, and Leopold Ragenstein vanished from the face of the earth. Dr. Schmidt's arrangements were most thorough, and I arrived in London less than a month later.
Mr. Mencken will see you now, sir.
Thank you.
My dear Sir Everard, a most unexpected pleasure. Dear me, how changed you are, and how well you look.
Credit Africa, Mr. Mangan. A wonderful country.
It's done wonders for you. Dear me. Are you thinking of settling down here for a time?
Well, that depends a little upon what you have to tell me.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Regarding the matter of Roger Unthank, nothing has been heard of him since the day you left England. His body has never been found.
And, my wife?
Her ladyship's condition is, I believe, unchanged. She is in excellent physical health, but mentally...
She still swears to take my life if I sleep under the same roof as she is? I may very likely settle down at Domini Hall.
Oh, I'm afraid the estate is still not in very good condition. All those debts you left behind.
Quite, yes. The business object of my visit to you is to ask you to make arrangements as quickly as possible for the paying off of the mortgages of the Domini estate.
What?
I've been making a good deal of money in Africa.
Great Scott. A Domini making money. In the 40 years I've managed the Domini interests, I've never known that to happen. Dear, I can hardly believe it.
Well, have lunch with me, Mr. Mangan, and I'll tell you something of my speculations in Africa.
Why, thank you, Sir Everard.
My knowledge of restaurants in London is a bit dated.
May I suggest the Carlton?
Oh, excellent.
Give me your hat, Sir Everard. I shall check it. I'll be with you now.
All right, I'll wait for you right here.
Leopold,
huh?
Why didn't you let me know you're in England? Leopold, how happy I am.
I think you're making a mistake. My name is not Leopold.
Darling, do you deny knowing me?
Madam, I do not have the pleasure. My name is Domini. Everard Domini.
I don't Leopold, my address is 17 Belgrave Square. Come there at 7 this evening.
But, my dear
I
lady...
shall expect you at 7.
Here we are.
7 sharp.
Dear me, Sir Everard, wasn't that Stephanie Strome?
Well, I don't know. She mistook me for someone else.
Oh, she is a marvelous actress. Marvelous. I saw her in Macbeth last month. And she... table for two?
Yes, sir. This way, please.
She played Lady Macbeth, you know. And in that scene...
Oh, excuse me one moment, Mr. Mangan. Seaman, my dear fellow, how are you?
Everard, what a surprise.
May I introduce my friend and legal advisor, Mr. Mangan? Mr. Mangan, Mr. Seaman.
How do you do?
Seaman and I were business associates in Africa. Will you join us at lunch, Seaman?
Thank you, but I cannot. Where are you staying, Everard?
At my estate in Norfolk, near Flankness. I'm driving there this evening.
Why, I have to be in Norfolk on business tomorrow.
Be my guest, will you?
Thank you, Everard. Thank you. Good day, Mr. Mangan.
Good day, sir. Now, as I was saying, what was I saying?
You were about to ask me if I cared for a drink, and I was about to say yes, a scotch and soda.
Oh, yes. The same for me.
Yes, sir.
Sir Everard, do you think it wise to return to Domini Hall before Lady Domini has been prepared for it?
Mr. Mangan, does she really regard me still as the murderer of Roger Unthank?
The mystery has never been solved. It's well known that you two fought that night and that you staggered home almost senseless. Roger Unthank has never been seen since.
If I'd killed him, why wasn't his body found?
Oh, there are many theories and quite a few superstitions. You may as well be prepared for one of them. There's not a soul for miles around Domini Hall who doesn't believe the ghost of Roger Unthank still haunts the Black Wood near where you fought.
But that's incredible.
Yes, I would agree. Except that from time to time, it has been heard shrieking and sobbing.
Oh, come on.
Sir Everard, I have heard it myself.
Tired, Mr. Mangan?
Just a bit, but we shall be there in a few minutes. I telephoned before we left London, and they have rooms ready for us.
Any of the old servants still left?
Oh, none. Every servant and caretaker we've had there has given notice within a month. At least a dozen swore that they had seen the ghost of Roger Unthank and heard his call at night. That's the sole reason why I haven't recommended long ago that you should get rid of Mrs. Unfang.
Oh, she is still in attendance upon Lady Dominic?
We couldn't get anyone else to stay there. And her ladyship absolutely declines to leave the hall. Through that gate, Sir Everard.
Yes, I remember. Oh, some of the old wall is down, I see.
That wall has been down, to my knowledge, for 30 years.
Of course. I'd forgotten.
We've kept the old place weathertight, and I don't think you will miss the timber we were forced to sell.
Oh. Any from the Blackwood?
Not a twig. Not one of the woodmen would ever go near the place.
You and I will take a look at the Blackwood in the morning.
Well, if you insist, Sir Everard. How does it feel to be at home after all these years?
I feel as though this is my first visit.
Good evening, Mrs. Unthank.
There's no place in this house for you, Everard Daubeny. No place here for a murderer.
Really, my good
Can
woman.
you face me, Everard Daubeny? You who murdered my son and made a madwoman of your wife.
Mrs. Unthank, return to your duties at once and understand that this house is mine to enter or leave when I choose.
And you will treat Sir Everard with respect. Have rooms been prepared for us?
You will be in the West Wing, Mr. Mangan. And the Oak Room has been prepared for Sir Everard. You mentioned respect, Mr. Mangan. If he stays here against my bidding, perhaps her ladyship will show him what respect means. Good night.
Oh, dear. My dear Sir Everard, I'm dreadfully sorry that...
Oh, that's quite all right. Quite all right. Well, I think I'll turn in immediately. We'll make the rounds of the estate after breakfast.
Sir Everard, are you really going to sleep in the Oak Room?
Yes. Why?
Have you forgotten? It's next to her ladyship's. And...
No, I have not forgotten. Good night, Mr. Mangan. I do not know how long I had been asleep when I felt the thin, cold pressure against my throat. I opened my eyes and I saw a hand, a small, slim hand in the moonlight just beneath my chin.
If you move, you will die. Remain still. I wish to look at you.
Rose.
You are very brave to have come here. Braver than I remembered.
Why do you wish to kill me?
Doesn't it say somewhere? A life for a life. You killed Roger Unthank. Last night his spirit called to me below my window. No. Don't move. Let me look at you, my husband. The strange thing to own after all these years. A husband.
What do you see?
You're wonderfully changed. Better looking.
I have changed, Rose. And I've come back a rich man. I shall bring some wonderful doctors here, and they'll make you quite strong and well again.
I've been wondering why I don't kill you ever, but I've sworn to. I know now. I know why I don't.
Why, Rose?
Because I've just realized you aren't Everard at all. Yes. That's why. You needn't fear ever that I shall kill you, because you're not Everard at all.
I spent the most of the next day going over the estate with Mangan, and when he left for London in the afternoon, he carried with him my cheque for £90,000 to settle the mortgage on Domney. And soon after his departure, Seaman arrived.
And it was very good of you to have invited me.
Well, come into the library. How was your trip here?
Oh, very pleasant. Very pleasant. The countryside is lovely this time of year, and, how did it go, Leopold?
Well, I think good. Mangan accepted me completely as Everard Daubeny. And if I say so myself, I think that I have made a very convincing transformation into an English country gentleman. Now, of course, it's been uncommonly expensive. Yeah. Every penny you gave me when we met at Cape Town is gone to pay off the mortgage of Sir Everard's... excuse me, on my estate.
Well, we could not have you returned home to a poverty-stricken domain. You'd have held no place whatsoever in English social life and no welcome from those with whom we desired you to stand well. Now, there is no bottom to our purse in these matters, and more will be deposited to your account.
From my African investments?
Yeah, from your African investments. So, all has gone smoothly?
Yeah, all except for one thing.
Oh?
Stephanie Strom met me by chance in a restaurant yesterday. She recognized me at once, of course, and seemed quite piqued when I denied knowing her. She demanded I called upon her at her home yesterday evening.
Well?
Has it occurred to you that she has claims upon Leopold von Ragerstein which would altogether interfere with the career of Everard Dominy? Our relationship before I left Germany was fairly well known, and if we are seen together now, someone might put two and two together and...
Yeah, you're right, of course. I'll see what I can do.
It will not be easy. Stephanie is extremely strong-willed and impetuous.
She will do as she is told. See? Anything else?
No.
Good. Now listen very carefully. I have instructions for you.
I am listening.
We move upon Poland in September. Now, if England declares war, it will, of course, render espionage work here extremely difficult in two major respects.
Yeah,
One, the English will redouble security precautions, and two, it will be almost impossible to bring in money with which to pay our agents in this country. It is with the second difficulty that you will be concerned. Your function will be that of paymaster.
Go on.
Now, from now until September, £3 million will be given to you.
To whom do I disperse this money?
The day we begin to conquer Poland, written instructions together with a list of all our agents here and in Ireland will be placed in your hands.
Understood.
So until then, live the life of Sir Everard Dominy, Baronet. So I will visit you from time to time to keep you abreast of events. So goodbye for the present, Leopold. I have a million things to do. Oh, and good luck in your impersonation.
Thank you. I think I shall need it.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first...
6 years after the last battle of the American Revolution, the people of America were in the midst of a great debate, whether to vote for or against the Constitution. Here is what Governor Clinton said to the people of New York in 1787. Your fate and that of your posterity depends on your present conduct. Do not give them reason to curse you, and do not give yourselves cause to be blamed. As individuals, you are ambitious to leave behind you a good name, and to your children a fair political inheritance. Yes, the men who framed the Constitution did so not only for themselves, but for the future. We today are that future.
And now, with our star, Ben Wright, as von Ragerstein, and Sir Everard Dominy, we return to the second act of Escape and the Great Impersonation.
I followed Simon's instructions to the letter and pursued exactly the course I thought Sir Everard Dominy himself would be likely to take. I put Lady Dominy in the hands of a Dr. Harrison, a psychiatrist. I pensioned Mrs. Anthenkoff, but to my surprise, she remained in the vicinity. I began to entertain upon a lavish scale, shooting parties, hunts, dinners, and dances. Unavoidably, Stephanie appeared among my guests from time to time. It was evident from her manner that Simon had spoken to her concerning me, and quite forcibly. It was also evident that she did not like it. I could see her patience wearing thinner and thinner. And one Friday to Monday, as I was walking through the garden after breakfast...
I wish to speak to you alone.
So my guests will be...
Your guests are well occupied. And in any case, I'm one of them.
What is it, Stephanie?
Leopold, can it be you've lost your love for me? You've changed so much and in so many ways.
Stephanie, I thought it had been impressed upon you. I am not Leopold, but Everard Dominy, an Englishman and the owner of this house and the husband of Lady Dominy.
I can almost believe you are an Englishman. You stand there cold and aloof as one. You whose tears have fallen upon my hand, whose lips...
You speak of one who is dead.
What has changed you like this? What has dried up all the passion in you?
Careful, Stephanie. Someone has come. Yes, what is it, Parkins?
Beg pardon, sir, but Lady Dominy has returned.
Oh, thank you, Parkins. Stephanie, will you excuse me?
Leopold, Something has just occurred to me, and I shall not see you, or rather, trouble you for a while. I'm going to take a sea voyage.
A sea voyage? Where?
To Africa, Leopold. To Africa.
May I see my wife, Dr. Harrison?
This evening, perhaps. It's been a fatiguing journey for her, and I would prefer her to rest as much as possible.
How is she?
Well, except for one hallucination, she's in perfect health.
And this one hallucination?
That you're not her husband. It's not within my power to dispel this hallucination. You are the one to do it. That's why I brought her home.
What can I do, Doctor?
She needs warmth and affection, Sir Everard.
I see. I'm very grateful to you, Doctor. I shall do everything I can to complete her recovery.
Thank you.
Yes?
It's I, Rose. May I come in?
Yes, Everett.
Rose, I couldn't go to sleep before welcoming you home.
Thank you, Everett, dear. That makes me very happy.
You're looking well and extremely lovely.
I am well. All the foolishness is gone. I know that whatever happened to poor Roger, it was not you who killed him. I know that I never really heard his ghost call to me. It was my imagination. I can't think why I ever wanted to hurt you. I'm sure I love you.
Then why do you doubt that I am your husband?
So like me, yet so unlike him. His daddy died in Africa.
Then who am I, Rose?
I don't know. But you're kind to me. And when you're near, I'm happy.
Rose, look at me. I am Everard. I am. Can't you see?
It's Roger. He's calling. Everett, I do hear it, don't I? It's not just in my head.
Rose.
Let me go. I must wave to him from the window. He never rests until I wave to him from the window. Please.
Rose, if you love me, do one great favor for me. Do not go to the window. Don't wave.
I must wave. I can't stand his cry. It's
Rose,
just...
as you love me, please.
Oh. All right, Everett. I'll do as you say, but hurry, please, hurry.
I ran out of her suite and down the stairs. Parkins was standing in the entrance to Dominie Hall, a heavy walking stick in his hand. I told him to follow me, and we hurried through the garden. And there, beneath Rose's window, I saw a dark shape. Slowly now, Parkins. Slowly and quietly. Parkins, help me. Come on, your stick. Oh, well done, Parkins. Do you have a match?
Yes, sir.
Well, strike it, man, strike it.
Oh, very good.
Hi, take a look. And who is it?
It's Roger Unthink.
Telephone the hospital in Plankner to send an ambulance for him at once.
Right. Roger! Oh, you've killed him. You've killed my son.
He's not dead, Mrs. Unthink. Though he deserves to be.
His jealousy drove him mad.
If
Now
Lady
you've done this
Dominie
to him.
recovers, I will forgive both you and your son for this revolting hoax. If she does not, I wish you both the blackest corner of hell. Rose had received a great shock that night, but as the summer wore on, she began to mend, and Dr. Harrison told me toward the end of August that he had every hope for her complete recovery. Meanwhile, the drift toward war quickened, and on the morning of the 1st of September, the German army smashed its way across the border into Poland. Simon telephoned me that morning to inform me that he would be at Dominie Hall that evening for a business conference, and about 9 o'clock, he arrived.
Mr. Seaman is here, sir.
Thank you, Parkins. Oh, hello, Seaman.
Oh, have you heard the terrible news, Sir Everard? Have you heard the wonderful news, Leopold? Our army is simply leaping ahead.
I know. I have been listening to the wireless.
We have to work quickly, very quickly. I must be in Ireland by tomorrow morning. Here, take these.
What is it?
These are microfilms, no larger than postage stamps. They contain your orders and the list of all our agents in these islands. Now, Leopold, the fate of our espionage service here is now in your hands.
Yeah, I understand.
Good.
And speaking of precaution, as you stooped to sit down just now, I distinctly saw the shape of your revolver in your hip pocket.
Oh?
Do you think it is wise to be carrying firearms about just now?
Oh, yeah, quite right. Here, take care of it for me. Quick, get the films out of sight.
Into this drawer.
Yes? What is it? Sorry to disturb you, sir, but Miss Strom is here and she...
And insists upon seeing you.
Stephanie. Thank you, Parkins. That will be all.
Yes, sir.
Stephanie, I did not know you had returned from Africa.
This afternoon, and I brought a visitor with me. Now tell me, Dr. Schmidt, who is this man? Leopold or the Englishman?
Why, he is the Englishman. The Englishman.
What have you done with Leopold? What have you done with him?
He met with the fate he prepared for me. His body sleeps on the bed of the Ruma River.
I don't understand. You came to me at Cape Town. You had all von Hagerstein's letters. You know his history.
We exchanged the most intimate confidences in his camp. The letters and papers I took from him.
And the money, the £3 million?
If the German Secret Service wishes to formulate a claim and sue us...
What are you? You two lumps of earth, clods. You let this Englishman stand there.
The lists. He has the lists of agents.
Yes, and they should prove of great interest to His Majesty's government.
Do something. We are 3 against 1.
Seaman! Back, Doctor, not another step or I'll shoot.
Seaman!
Grab him! Get back, Seaman!
No, don't shoot! Don't shoot! No, please, don't shoot!
Yes, Rod?
Telephone the military barracks at Norwich. Ask them to send a car and a strong escort immediately.
Yes, sir.
And then, Parkins, come back here and see what my guests will have.
We're going now, Sir Everard.
How is she?
She's well. She's entirely well. But see for yourself.
Everard.
Oh, Rose, my darling.
Oh, my dearest. There were times when I couldn't believe you were my Everard. And now... Now I know.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have presented transcribed The Great Impersonation by E. Phillips Oppenheim, adapted for radio by Walter Newman, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Starred as Sir Everard Dominey was Ben Wright, with Gene Bates, John Daner, Gabriel Windsor, Ted Von Eltz, Edgar Barrier, Ann Morrison, Parley Bear, and Ramsey Hill. Escape has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
Drifting on the glossy surface of a burning tropical sea,
trapped aboard a flimsy raft, with 3 murderous companions from whom you cannot escape.
We offer you Escape, designed to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Tonight, we take you to New Caledonia in the South Pacific, not far from the town of Noumea, a French penal colony as notorious as Devil's Island. And a trip that staggers the imagination, as John Russell told it in his gripping tale, The Fourth Man.
The raft stood to open sea. A mat of bandanas leaves served for its sail and a paddle of wood for its helm. Its flooring was woven of reeds and bamboo sticks and rested on triple rows of bladders. It was light, elastic, fit to ride any weather, and it carried 4 men. 3 of them sat huddled together at the far end. Their bodies were blackened with dried blood. The hair upon them was long and matted. They wore only the rags of convicts' blue canvas uniform. On wrist and ankle they carried their mark, the dark, wrinkled stain of the manacles. There were Dubose, doctor, leader, man of the world, murderer.
Friends, the thing is done.
And Fenneru, forger, ladies' man, weakling, coward.
Yes, we got away all right.
And the one known as the Parrot, thief and cutthroat.
So far, so good. And by way of celebration, gentlemen, may I offer you cigarettes?
Cigarettes? Doctor, you are a marvel, a magician. Oh, look at them, white and fresh as though they had just come from the package.
How did you do it? Every 6 months there are about 75 escapes from Noumea. Not more than one succeeds. Ours would be that one, I knew. So 3 weeks ago, I bribed the night guard for these very cigarettes so that we might sit here, my friends, as we are doing, and celebrate. I want a light. A light for the Parrot.
Doctor's a wonder. he thinks of everything. He gives us cigarettes, matches, and our freedom.
Wait till you've got your 2 feet on the pavement again. That will be the time to talk about freedom.
Oh, to wear starched collars again. To stroll with a girl, clean and fresh from her bath, down the Place de la Concorde.
Suppose we get a storm? It's not the season of storms. Just the same. Suppose we get a storm. Delicate, my friend. You must not be so impatient. We were convicts back there, festering in oblivion. Now we stand on the rosy threshold of the big round world again. We are men raised from the dead. Suppose we get a storm. You've got the gift for speech, Doctor. But where is the ship that was going to meet us here? This is the day as agreed. It will meet us. This wind will blow us to China if we keep on. We can't lie any closer to shore. Don't forget there's a government launch at Torian. I doubt if the native trackers have given us up.
Careful, Parrot. They'll eat you yet.
I have heard about that. Is it true, Doctor, that the natives keep all the runaways they can capture to fatten on? Oh, they prefer the reward. Still, I doubt if they've entirely lost the habit of cannibalism.
Piece by piece, Parrot. First, they'll sample you, and then they'll make a stew of your brains. They won't miss a thing.
The filthy brutes.
I almost forgot. We have one of them with us.
The 4th man was steering the raft. He sat crouched in the stern, his huge dark hands holding the steering paddle. He was motionless, like an idol, his eyes on the empty sea. The 4th man on the raft. You are looking at a Kanak, my friend.
You will see nothing superior, no line of beauty to redeem the low angle of the forehead, the knobby joints of the body. Nature has stamped him with the mark of inferiority. He set the final seal himself, with that twist of bark about his middle and that prong of pig ivory through his nose.
Nonetheless, he is a man, and there's a price on our heads. He could be taking us where he likes.
Calm yourself, Fenneru. This is a very simple animal, an infant, really. Does that mean he couldn't double-cross us? It does. He's bound by his duty. I made my bargain with his chief up the river, and this one is sent to deliver us on board our ship. That's the only interest he has in us.
And he'll do it?
He will. That is the nature of the native.
I don't trust him. Not for a minute.
Brute. The animal.
You! It's you I'm talking about, you filthy brute.
Save your breath, Harris. He speaks no language, only a few noises, a few signs. I don't feel right on the same raft with that.
Me? Me, I just stretch out a little under these mats.
Yes, we should all sleep a little, conserve ourselves. When we awake, she'll be there, the ship, our saucy little topsail schooner, her mast standing out against the sky. We'll be on our way to France. Sleep, my friend.
The two younger convicts dozed under the heat of the day, but not Dr. DeVoe. He stood once again to sweep the skyline under his shaded hat. His plan had been so careful, so precise. He had counted absolutely on meeting the ship. The small schooner, one of those flitting, half-piratical traders of the Copra Islands that can be hired like cabs in a dark street for any sinister enterprise. But there was no ship, and there was no crossroads where one might sit and wait.
Good morning, Doctor.
It's afternoon.
Yes, it is. I slept like a corpse.
And where is the ship, Doctor? It was going to be there when we woke.
I'm thirsty. Dying with thirst.
So are we all, Fenneru.
Where's the flask? I'm roasted in the sun.
We'll have to roast some more. This crew is put on rations.
What are you talking about? Where is that water?
I have it here.
Just so you have. You think it is yours?
It is ours, Parrot.
I want a drink, Doctor.
Think a little, Parrot. Now, we have to guard our supplies like reasonable men. Don't know how long we may be floating here.
So that's how you talk now. You don't know how long. But you were sure enough when we started.
I'm still sure the ship will come. She cannot stay for us in one spot. She'll be cruising to and fro until she intercepts us. We must wait.
That's good. Wait. And in the meantime, what? Fry here in this heat, our tongues hanging out while you deal us out drop by drop. No, the man does not live who can feed me with a spoon. You scum! But you're in this too, Fenneru, with this captain who thinks of everything and still puts to sea without provisions. Go on, laugh again.
I wasn't laughing, Parrot. True. It's a bad piece of work for a captain of runaways.
Unless you would die very speedily, we must guard our water.
And whose fault is it?
Mine. I admit it. What then? Here we are, and here we'll stay. Only do our best with what we have.
All right, Doctor. Do your best. Give me a drink.
You may have your share, of course. Be warned. When it's gone, don't come to us, to Fenneru and me.
What is fair is fair.
My drink.
Very well. should have enough for 3 days, maybe more, with equal shares among the three of us.
Yes, that's right. There are only 3 of us.
Were you thinking of him, Fenneau, of our pilot? He looks somewhat like us, doesn't he? But his body has never known clothes or his feet shoes. His mind has never known a single thought. Look at us 3, gentlemen. You, Fenneau, a forger. You, Parrott, a thief. I, Dr. Dubose, a murderer. Yet we are civilized men. This is a savage animal. Our provisions are only for men.
And now, we return to the second act of Escape, and tonight's story, The Fourth Man. Awoke to their second day on the raft. They looked, saw the far round horizon, the empty desert of the sea, and their own shadows that slipped slowly before them over its smooth, slow heaving. The land had sunk away from them in the night. The trap had been sprung. As the savage sun kindled upon them with the power of a burning glass, a calm fell, an absolute calm. The air hung waiting. The sea heaved and fell in polished undulations, and the sun shone. They crawled to the shelter of their mats, gasping and shriveling, while the fourth man, the savage, the beast, sat silent and unmoving. The water, the world of water, was black, thick as oil.
How lonely it is.
Dr. Dubose, where is your ship? Your saucy little schooner. Those were your words. Well, where is it?
It will come.
Suppose your friends leave you to rot here, Doctor. Leave Parrott and me to rot here. That would be a joke, eh, Doctor? To wait for a ship that will never come?
It will come. My friends will not fail me.
Why? How do you know? Eh? How can you be so sure?
There is a safety vault in Paris full of papers to be opened at my death. Those papers contain confessions. No, gentlemen, no. My friends will come. They will come. That savage Kanak.
Huh? What?
He does not join us. He does not look at us. He sits on his heels in the way of the native with his arms hugging his knees. He sits at the stern, motionless under the shattering sun, gazing out into vacancy. Whenever I raise my eyes, I see nothing else, only this Kanak.
He seems to be enjoying himself quite well.
Yes, I was thinking so myself.
Hannibal, the savage.
He doesn't seem to suffer.
How does he do it? Has he no feelings?
Been wondering. Maybe that his fibers are tougher.
We have had water, and he has not.
And yet, see? His skin is fresh and moist.
His belly fat as a football. Don't tell me the savage is thirsty. Is there any way he could steal our supplies?
Certainly not.
Suppose he has his own supplies hidden.
What?
We'll see. Search the raft. Look under the mat.
No, there's nothing here.
You were mistaken. He has nothing hidden.
You are wrong about him, Doctor. When you say he has no understanding, there is one thing he knows and knows well. Pain!
Harold, don't hit me. Harold, stop.
There, scum. That will teach you not so chipper now, are you? Not so happy with your luck. That will make you feel...
Come back, my friend. Back under the mat. The glare of the sun is not so bad there.
So the days dragged by. The second, the third, and now it was the fourth day. And still there was no breeze, and still there was no ship.
Doctor. Yes?
What do you stare at?
Savage. Look at him. Look at us. We are dying. Our powers are heavy.
Him.
Naked. Wild. Brutish. Is yet to give the slightest sign of complaint, do we?
Yes. Yes, it's true.
Night he stretches out and sleeps. Through those long hours when we wrestle and fight with despair, he sleeps like a child. And in the morning, he resumes his place aft unchanged, fixed. A glowing wonder.
Doctor, is this a man or a fiend?
A man. He's a man.
No. A miracle.
No. He's a man. A very poor and wretched example of a man. You'll find no lower type anywhere. Look at his cranial angle, the high ears. Heavy bones, his skull is scarcely above an 8.
Then what?
He has a secret.
Secret?
But we see him. Every move he makes, every minute. What chance has he for a secret?
What kind of secret?
Oh, I can't say. Perhaps some method of breathing, some strange posture he uses to keep the sensations of the body. Such things are known among primitive people. Who knows?
We can know. We can find out.
Ask him? It's useless. He will not tell. Why should he? We scorn him. We give him no share with us. We abuse him. So he falls back on his own expedients. He remains silent as he always has been, as he always will be. He never tells the secrets. They are the means by which he has survived from the depths of time, by which he yet may survive when our wisdom is done.
There are a number of ways of learning secrets. I know them all.
It's useless. He'd stand and he'd torture you, my friend. Saw how he behaved before. No, that's not the way.
Talk. I am tired of all this talk. Kill him and throw him over. Let's be rid of this thing.
We gain nothing.
Then what do you want?
To win. That's what I want. To win. To beat him at the game. For our own sakes. For our own racial pride, we must. To outlast him. To prove to ourselves we are his masters. Be better. Brains, by better organization and soul. Watch him. Watch him, my friends. So we can trap him. So we can find out and defeat him in the end.
Watch. I'll watch, all right. You old windbag. I am not sleeping anymore and leave you alone with that bottle.
Bottle? I've been meaning to discuss our rations with you.
Have you?
We're running very short. I'm afraid we must take a cut again.
And what are we down to now, Doctor?
Half a thimbleful.
No.
We must keep our wits.
I say no.
And we'll put it to a vote. You say no, I say yes. General.
Yes. Anything but give me mine now.
Then it's a half thimbleful for Monsieur Federal. Your share, Federal.
More, or I'll die. More.
No more.
You must. Doctor.
More today.
Look.
Doctor! Oh, the bottle. Yes, the bottle. He's
Look at it. You killed him with that oar.
What about the bottle?
There's some left. You caught him just in time.
And you caught the bottle just in time.
It seems I did.
And there is no ship. There will be no ship. We are done. Because of you and your dirty promises that brought us here. Doctor, liar, fool.
Don't come any closer. Unless you want this bottle broken over your head.
No, I wouldn't want that.
Think, Paris, why should you and I fight? We can see this trouble through and win yet.
Yes.
This weather can't last forever. And besides, there will be only two of us to divide the water now.
Yes. It is true, isn't it? Feneru kindly leaves us his share, an inheritance. All right. I take mine now. My share. Right now, if you please. Later we will see.
So be it. Here. Your share.
Many thanks. And now, Feneru's share. To me, please.
As you say.
And now, another good doctor.
3. And that's enough, Paris.
No, doctor. Is not enough. Now I take your hand.
My arm!
Your arm. I'll kill you if you don't. Thank you. You see, I have manners, haven't I? And I have wisdom, too. Because I fooled a very wise man. I toast you, doctor. The best man wins. That was a bright idea. The bird.
The best man wins, Paris. You forgot I'm a doctor, didn't you? The water you would kill for has killed you. Man cannot go without water for 4 days and drink his fill and still live. Go on, Parrot, gasp out your worthless life while I laugh. The best man always wins, Parrot. The best man.
The best man wins. Yes, Doctor.
No, you
forgot my knife, didn't you? My knife. Forgot me, lying at your feet while you divided my share of the water. Gave me up for dead, did you? But see now, who will outlast the two of you? Stay now. The best man always wins.
You fool! The water! It's running out. Parrot!
All the time, not 10 miles away from us.
Oh, that's come. It's a misfortune. Well, where are they, the passengers?
They're all dead. One is stabbed to death, another is skull crushed, the other fried by the sun. All dead.
Well, then, all the better. They'll cost nothing to feed.
But how?
Hogsheads, my friend. The hogsheads in the afterhold. Fill them nicely with brine, and there we are.
I do not understand.
You're dull, Marteau. Very dull. The gentleman's passage is all paid before we left Sydney. I contracted to bring back 3 escaped convicts. Well, I'll bring them back. In pickle. So, you'll go back, Marteau, and bring them aboard for the trip. I'll be much obliged.
Very well. There is a 4th man under half Captain a Canuck, still alive. What will we do with him?
Canuck? There's no word in my contract about any Canuck. Leave him there. He's only a savage.
And so Dr. DeBolt and Fenero and the parrot went aboard for the long trip to their beloved Paris. Their bodies pitching and rolling gently in the huge vats of brine. On the raft, the 4th man raised his head slightly as the wind freshened from the west. He watched until the schooner turned, shaping away for Australia. Then he spread his sail of pandanus leaves and headed the raft eastward, back toward New Caledonia, back toward home. Feeling somewhat dry after his exertion, the native plucked a hollow reed at random from the rushes on his raft. Slowly, lazily, he stretched himself at full length in his accustomed place at the stern. He thrust the reed down into one of the bladders underneath the raft and drank his fill of sweet water. He had a dozen such storage bladders remaining, built into the float at intervals above the waterline. Quite enough to last him safely home.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman McDonald. Tonight we have presented The 4th Man by John Russell, adapted for radio by Irving Ravitch and narrated by Larry Dobkin. Featured in the cast were Joseph Kearns, Ben Wright, and Barney Phillips, with Jack Crucian and Wilms Herbert. Special music arranged and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Suspense, which is usually heard at this hour on Thursday nights, is taking its customary summer holiday. Suspense returns to the air 7 weeks from tonight on Thursday, September 1st.
You are deep in the remote hill country of Afghan, face to face with the fierce Pathan warriors, trapped into a hopeless fight from which there seems no escape.
We offer you Escape, designed to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Tonight, we escape to the north of India and to a battle long remembered, as Rudyard Kipling described it in his famous story, The Drums of the Fore and Aft.
When I came out from England to serve as a news correspondent with the British troops on the northwest frontier of India, I was attached to a regiment known as the Fore and Fifth, Princess Hohenzollerns own Royal Light Infantry. Fore and Fifth. But now, behind their back, men call them the Fore and Aft. When certain words are shouted in front of other barracks, the troops may come out with belts and fists. But the mere whisper of Fore and Aft brings out the men of this regiment with rifles in their hands and murder in their eyes. perhaps the story of how the Fore and Aft got its name may be really more the story of Jakin and Piggy Lou, two of the toughest and most lovable little monsters who ever banged a drum or tooted a pipe in a military band. They were both about the same age, with curly hair and the faces of cherubs. And inside were two souls that should have belonged to a pair of devils. I must have seen them before, of course, but the first occasion I can recall was at an informal court the colonel was holding in the orderly room one morning. Piggy and Jakin were there, and they were in trouble, as usual.
All right, Sergeant. Read the charges.
Yes, sir. The charge is made by one Smithers, a civilian, that while walking back at the bazaar at 6 p.m. last evening, he was set upon without provocation by two drummers from the regimental band known as Jakin and Peggy Lou, and by them was beaten into near insensibility.
Well, go on, Sergeant.
Mr. Smithers states further that he was struck down by the two defendants, and while lying on the ground was kicked repeatedly in the face and ribs, escaping with his life only through the timely arrival of a detachment of the guard. That's all, sir.
Well, what about it? Jakin? Piggy? Is this the truth?
Oh, yes, sir. We gave him what for, all right.
That will do, Piggy.
Yes, sir.
All right, Sergeant. Turn them over to the bandmaster and have him tan their hides.
Yes, sir. Come on, you.
Wait a minute. Begging your pardon, sir, but can't we say nothing in our own defence?
Oh, what if the bloomin' civilian said he'd report you for having a bit of a barney with a friend? Suppose he tried to get money out of you, sir, and then he was...
That will do, Piggy. You were fighting.
Well, only between ourselves, sir. That doesn't count.
We can't have no blinking civilians interfering with the business of Our Majesty's regiment.
All right. We forget the birching. But you're both confined to quarters for 3 days.
Oh, but, sir...
All right. Dismissed. And throw away that pipe when you get outside, Piggy. You're too young to be smoking.
Yes, sir. Come on. Come on.
Confounded Kipling. I don't know what to do with the lads. They're not really bad at heart, and they've never known any home with the army.
Where do they come from, Colonel?
Jakin is from some back street in London, and Piggy Lou is straight off the Calcutta dock. And in both cases, ancestry unknown.
Well, they seem loyal enough to the regiment, at any rate.
They are, and loyal to each other in their own way. I'm inclined to think sometimes they've got more real spirit than all these new regulars put together.
Aren't you a bit overloaded with green troops, Colonel?
Overloaded? My dear fella, 90% of the regiment were in Manchester factories or Lancashire farms 6 months ago. Can't make a soldier that length of time.
Any chance of action very soon?
Between ourselves, Kipling, we'll probably move north in about 10 days.
Oh,
no, not to the front, of course. We'll give them a few months to shake down before they go into action.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's the only thing to do. There's one thing certain. This regiment is not ready for action yet. Only, don't write that back to your paper.
But the gods who govern armies seldom choose the wisest plan. On the Afghan border, a large force of Pathan guerrillas began massing near the Khyber Valley, being held in check temporarily by a regiment of Highlanders and a regiment of native Gurkhas. A week later, the Fore and Aft, a regiment totally unprepared for action, was ordered to march north, contact the two regiments, and carry out a joint action to disperse the enemy. Parade ground and barracks began to hum with preparations for the coming campaign. Privates walked with a new swagger, and the young officers nearly shot one another at pistol practice. But to Piggy and Jakin, the excitement was like salt in an open wound, for the band was reduced to 20 men, and the drummer boys were being left behind.
Blimey, I won't let him do it to me, Jakin. Me, what's going to have a career in the army, being left behind like an old boot.
Oh, why should you worry? Now you can stay here with that blooming girl of yours.
Oh, what's a girl when the regiment's going to the front? And besides, how am I to explain to her about being left behind with the women?
What do you have to explain anything to her for? She's only 13.
I've been telling her I'd get myself a medal when the first campaign came along, and how am I to do it now?
I heard in the barracks they're going to take Tom Kidd along. He's to be the bugler. Of course, he's 18, though.
He may be 18, but I can plaster the wall with him any day, and with one hand behind my back.
Perhaps we could bash him round a bit. Or just enough so that he can't bugle no more. You could hold his hands, Piggy, and then I'll kick him in.
No. He still wouldn't take us. Our reputations ain't what they might be, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, for myself, I'd just as lief stay here and do a bit of loafing.
With our own regiment going into action, why does Leaf have my...
Oh, look who's coming. It's the blooming Colonel himself.
And so it is, all alone. You know, Jacob, my boy, I think I'll go and have a little talk with the Colonel. You wait here.
Have you gone daft with him?
Yeah, catch my pipe.
Blimey, now we're in for it again.
Begging the Colonel's pardon, sir.
What was it? Well, Piggy, the drum's in revolt.
No, sir, I'd like the pleasure of a word with you, sir.
All right, go ahead and have it.
Well, sir, if you thought the world and all of your regiment, and it was going off to active service without you, sir, then how'd you feel?
I'm afraid I feel a bit left out of things.
Well, that's how Jacob and me feels about it, sir.
You've no idea what a campaign can be like, Piggy. Why, you'd flop in your face in the first 20 miles.
Oh, no, we wouldn't, sir. We're good at marching. I'll tell my girl I'd bring her back a medal. I've just got to go.
I see. Think you could pass a physical?
Not the slightest doubt of it, sir. We're both of us very healthy for our age.
All right. I suppose it's unheard of for a regiment on the border to take drummers along on active service. But if you can pass the medical officer, you can both go along.
Oh, blimey! We're going to the front! I mean, thank you, sir. Jacob!
The regiment marched out of the station 2 days later, and all those left behind lined the road that led past the parade ground. The band stood by and played them out, waiting to fall in at the rear of the column. And although Jakin perspired and beat on his drum manfully to cover up, it was quite evident that Piggy Lou was not with the band. Jakin kept glancing up the cedar hedge behind him, and I had a pretty good idea why Piggy was being detained.
You've just got to be awful careful and take real good care of yourself, Peggy. You're so venturesome. I worry all the time.
It's hard, Chris. I'll grant you it's hard, but what's a man to do when his regiment's called on active service now? Yeah. Give us another kiss.
Oh, Peggy.
That's more like you.
If you'd have stayed here like you'd ought to, you could have had as many as you wanted.
And if I'd done that, Chris, you wouldn't think anything of me.
Like as not, but, well, at least I'd have had you with me, Peggy. And all the thinking in the world ain't like kissing.
And all the kissing in the world ain't like having a medal to wear on the front of your coat.
Oh, who cares about a medal? Just stay with me, Peggy, darling, and I'll love you true forever.
Well, aren't you going to do that anyhow, Chris? You said you were.
Oh, of course I am, but it'd be lots more comfortable if you stayed here.
Don't take on about it, Chris. I'll be coming back, and I'll marry you someday, too. I promise.
Oh, but when? Years and years, perhaps. You'll be careful, won't you, Peggy?
Man has to take his chances in the army, Chris, but if it happens, I'll be thinking of you right to the last.
Oh, don't talk like that.
Oh, now, here. Give us a kiss.
Piggy, come on over here. We're about to fall in.
I've got to go now, Chris, my love. Don't you be forgetting me.
Oh, I won't ever, Peggy. Here, I made something for you to take with you.
What is it?
It's a button bag. All the regular soldiers carry them. I put some of my hair in it.
No, it's awful kind of you, Chris.
Oh, it ain't made so well, but I didn't want nobody else to help me, not even Mum.
I'll carry it right over my heart, so long as I'm alive.
Oh, don't say things like that.
Piggy, come on.
Give us one more kiss now. I can't stay no longer.
Oh, Peggy.
Goodbye, Chris.
Take care of yourself.
Goodbye, Piggy. Be careful. Oh, be careful.
I'll be coming round to see you, Chris, my love, when I get back from the war.
Oh, Piggy.
Well, it's about time. And lucky we're not both in trouble. Here, stick this blinking pipe in your ugly mouth and blow on it. Petticoat chaser. Just beat your drum, soldier, before I decide to beat on your ruddy head a bit. Tell the colonel he can shove off now.
A great hour on CBS Friday night is This is Broadway. Rising stars bring you their top acts and their problems for the future to Clifton Fadiman, Abe Burrows, and George S. Kaufman, three show business experts ready with advice. Be sure to hear This is Broadway tomorrow night and every Friday night on most of these same CBS stations. And now, we return to the second act of Escape, and tonight's story, Drums of the Fore and Aft.
And so the Fore and Aft went north to the wars. First by troop train, and then on foot, when the last railhead left them with a 7-day route march before they'd reach the front up ahead. And during those 7 weary days, the regiment began to crack. The men weren't hardened to the long miles of marching, and they found themselves dead tired before noon of each day. The food was bad, and the water was worse. And on the second day, the snipers started in. They would hide in the tumble rocks of the low brown hills beside the road and wait for the column to pass. The first sign of one would be a flash and a puff of smoke, and some man on the long line of march would die without ever seeing the enemy who'd killed him. And even at night, the tired and nerve-shattered men could find no rest. If anything, the night hours in the dark tent were a good deal worse than the daylight hours on the dusty road.
Oh, shut up, Piggy. I've got to get myself some sleep. As if I ain't marched just as far as you have. Oh, my feet, they're killing me. Well, it serves you bloody well right for getting us into this. We could be back in the barracks now, living on the fat of the land.
And halfway to becoming musicians like us, no?
In which case, I'd be sleeping in a regular bed. And having some decent grub to eat for once.
I'm afraid you're not the army type, Jakin. You're not the army type, Jakin. Perhaps I shouldn't have talked my friend, the colonel, into letting you come
in there! Find that case before I come in and take a belt to you.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Don't have to go calling a blinking sergeant, sir.
There ain't no harm in it.
That's the left wing. Aim your head!
Piggy, that's another one of our sentries got himself killed in the patrol. They just sneak up in the dark without making a sound. Then they take their bloody lawnmowers and slice them open as neat as you can.
Hold your fire till you see what you're shooting at.
I wonder what they look like, Piggy. These here patrons.
What's it matter when we can't even carry rifles? I ask you now, Jason. Look at this in my hand. How's a man to get himself a medal when all he's got for a weapon is a bloomin' pipe?
Late afternoon of the 7th day, weary, savage, and sick, their uniforms dulled and unclean, the Fore and Aft rendezvoused with the Highland Regiment.
Hey, lads, here comes the new regiment, the Fore and Aft.
The Fore and Aft, eh? And may I ask you, what is it they're fit for?
Some of the men bore wounds, and some with stretcher cases. But the real casualty was the regimental morale. These raw recruits had marched out of their station in the south with the band playing, and somehow they'd imagined they might march gloriously into battle the same way. But no band played when they slogged to a stop at the brigade encampment.
Blimey! Look at them chaps over there wearing petticoats.
I'll let you know. They're Islanders, me lad. And I've heard a man had best take no liberties with them.
Oh. Well, Picky, you think we found the bloody war at last?
And what else? Ain't that a full-blown general over there talking to our colonel?
Had a bit of a rough time of it coming down, sir. My men have been rather mauled with no chance of a fair return. They only want to go someplace where they can see what's before them.
I understand, Colonel. I wish I could let you have a few days to recover, but I simply can't spare you just now.
Oh, there'll be no need of it, sir. All we're wanting is one good night's rest.
I see. Well, you can pitch your camp next to the Highlanders, Colonel, and I suggest you call a general inspection before dark. We plan to attack the enemy position at dawn.
Very good, sir.
So it's active service you wanted, Piggy, eh? And how much longer do you think they're going to keep us standing here with the bloody daylight barely coming over the hills?
Just take a look at them Pathans out there on the plain.
Must be 8 of them to one of us, right down the line.
It makes it that much easier to get a medal.
Now, how do you hope to get a medal? Maybe you're going to blow their bloody eardrums in with your little fife.
More like it. We'll not even have a chance to see how the beggars look. The band, as you might have heard, is going to wheel and retire when we reach them rocks out there, while the regular soldiers go in and attack the enemy.
Which, I might say, is exactly the way I plan it myself. I got no fondness for being sliced up like a leg of lamb.
Ah, you got no spirit, Jenkins.
Them as want spirit can have it. As for me, Oh, here we go, Piggy.
Right, on, Jenkins. Ready now.
That's all right. We're out!
Watch yourself now, Jenkins, and step lively. Just keep your eye on me, and I'll make a bloody hero out of you.
Only someone had blundered. Someone had misread an order. And the Fore and Fifth moved out onto the plain to attack the enemy force alone.
The Fore and Fifth moving out.
At the clump of rocks, the band wheeled and halted and continued to play, while the ranks opened to form a skirmish line and moved slowly ahead.
Oh, steady, laddies. We have no orders to move out, and therefore we'll stand fast aloof. If the Fore and Fifth wishes to fight like hogs, then
At 500 yards range from the enemy line, the regiment began firing at will. At will and wildly. In a few minutes, they'd thrown away half of their ammunition and blinded themselves with their own smoke. And farther out on the plain, the Afghan armies stood quietly, firing occasional well-aimed bullets into the milling herd of green troops.
Fools, they're bunching like a herd.
Suddenly, from the main body of the Afghan troops, a small band of about 50 Pathan warriors charged forward and fell upon the startled Englishmen. These were the Ghazis, the suicide squad, always thrown out ahead of the Afghan army before any main test of strength. Swinging their long, heavy knives, they struck the close packed British line.
In the name of heaven, God, they extend into open order.
The Fore and Fifth wavered, reeling away from the vicious flashes of the murderous bone-handled knives, rallied for an instant and held, then broke, turned tail, and ran.
Will you look at them, laddies? They turn and run.
I might say they make better speed to the rear than they made to the fore.
They're anything but Fore and Fifth now. More like it to call them the Fore and Aft.
It'll take them a long time to live that one down. That's the Fore and Aft.
The regiment took no thought for the wounded, for the men left behind. Nor did they stop until they'd jammed in the pass that led up to the hill. And the band, too, was carried along with them in their headlong flight. All the band, except 2 men.
Piggy, you think them bloody Pathan beggars can see us hiding here in the rocks?
Oh, of course not.
Well, I hope you're right.
Bloomin' cowards, running away. Now, weren't that a fine way for a British regiment to act?
Had we done the same thing, we'd not be left behind here the way we are.
Now, what's got into you? You're comfortable, ain't you?
I may be comfortable, but I ain't easy in my mind.
Ah, put a sock in it. Hey, look. Somebody dropped a canteen there. Maybe it's got rum in it.
Well, now how can you hope to tell by shaking it?
Here now, keep your dirty hands off it. I'll do the trying it out.
Well, is it, Piggy? Is it? No, it's water. Oh. Here, have yourself a free drink on Her Majesty, drummer boy. Right, Jackson, look. What? Them pretend bakers is starting back to their own lines. Hey, keep your head down.
Well, now with the blooming enemy retiring, perhaps our lads will come out and rescue him.
Oh, them, the bloody cowards.
Well, don't they know the Pretends ain't chasing them no more?
They can't see nothing but their own precious skins. Mo. Maybe we ought to give them a little music. Show them it's all nice and cozy out here now.
What? Do you want us to go and get our blinking selves shot?
Oh, they ain't no enemy close by now. Come on, Jacob. Take up your bloody drum there.
Here, are you positive there was only water in that canteen?
Oh. So life is not you're a coward too, the same as the rest of the regiment.
What? I'll show you who's a coward, Piggy, my boy. Here, take your blooming fife. There, and stick it in your ugly face.
Well, now, so you have got a bit of spirit. Maybe I'll speak to my old friend the Colonel about it.
Oh, shut up and start blowing. Are you ready?
Ready all? Now.
Where is it we're going to march to, Piggy?
Back in water time or two in full sight. Then we'll wait in the rocks for the battle to start. Are they watching us?
Yeah, they're watching us. Oh, yes. They're watching us, all right.
Time held still, and even the Afghan snipers forgot their weapons, while two armies watched the tiny, red-coated figures marching back and forth on the battlefield alone.
Aye, and I'll tell you for certain, there's a pair of brave laddies down there.
All right, you bleeding cowards! Look at them out there! Are them two children the only brave men in the regiment?
The men of the Fore and Aft lifted their heads, fingered their rifles, and stared without moving. And out there on the silent plain, back and forth marched Jakin and Piggy.
Have we had to play these blooming instruments all day long? Ain't the blighters ever going to come back?
Shut up, Jakin. Keep playing.
Well, all I might say is, I shouldn't have ever let you talk me into this. I ain't cut out for active service anyway. I should bloody well feel more comfortable if I was back in the barracks. I was...
Jakin. Oh, you blinking heathen blighters! You've killed Jakin! All right, I'll show you who's afraid of you! Oh, come on, you blooming coward!
Two armies saw them die from the sniper's bullets. Two armies and the men of the Fore and Aft.
All right, men of the regiment. What now? Those two at least were brave enough to know how to die.
Pigs, bandits! This time we attack, and there'll be no time for that!
Look at them, laddies. The Fore and Aft, they're going back to fight. Aye, look at them run. That's how it should have been done the first time. Aye, laddies, and now is the time for us. Others don't know. Here's where we join the fight. Company, prepare to charge.
Late afternoon saw the Afghan army wiped out, and the general explained to me how everything had gone according to his plan, and how he hoped I'd cable that back to my paper in London right away. I turned and left him then, and walked across the silent battlefield, walked out among the silent dead. The two tiny figures lay quite close together, Jakin fallen across his broken drum, and Piggy Lou with the pipe still clenched in his dirty fist. A bulge under his tunic caught my eye, and I reached in and drew out a button bag, embroidered crudely with the name, Chris.
I made it for you myself, Piggy, darling. And I put some of my own hair inside of it.
I'll wear it right next to my heart, Chris, so long as I'm alive.
I thought how Chris would soon forget, and how the world's memory is no longer than hers. The sun was sinking away into the west. The button bag in my hand was soaked, damp, and over the left breast of Piggy's grimy uniform, over the pocket where decorations are usually worn, a brighter red stain had spread out through the coarse wool, looking very much like the bright red ribbon that goes with a medal.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Tonight we have presented Drums of the Fore and Aft by Rudyard Kipling, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield. Featured in the cast were Ben Wright as Rudyard Kipling, Hugh Thomas as Piggy Lou, and Terry Kilburn as Jakin, with Colleen Collins, Ramsey Hill, Alec Harford, Wilms Herbert, and Tudor Owen. Special music arranged and conducted by Wilbur Hatch.
Next week, you are hanging by your fingertips on the sheer face of an ice cliff, suspended 1,000 feet above instant death, with your strength running out, and with no chance for escape.
Next week, we bring you an adventure tale, Action by C.E. Montague. Be sure to tune in at the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. In just a few minutes, Casey, crime photographer, embarks upon another adventure with death. Tonight's adventure is called Crazy Like a Fox. Join crime photographer on most of these same CBS stations. Tip Corning speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
By your fingertips on the sheer face of an icy cliff, suspended 1,000 feet above instant death, with your strength running out, and with no chance for escape.
We offer you Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Tonight, we escape to the cold loneliness of a glacier high in the Swiss Alps, and to a man who learned much about death, as C.E. Montague tells it in his famous story, Action.
High in the Swiss Alps, well above 12,000 feet, a man clings with desperation to the frozen glass wall of the Chaliot Glacier. Hands and feet jammed in the shallow steps, chopped in the iron-hard ice. A cold wind drives a spray of dusty sleet along the overhanging wall, and the sun has fallen away among the crags to the west. Darkness lies 1 hour ahead. The man has climbed with painful care 1,000 feet up the glacier's face from the broken moraine at the foot, and has moved now onto the underside of a great bulge in the ice, a part of the wall which breaks out beyond the perpendicular. And the man is forced to hang from slots cut by his axe, such as a sloth hangs from a tree branch. 12 more feet lie between him and the brow of the overhang. 6 more steps to be chopped out with the axe. And 1,000 feet of void space wait beneath him. The man is unable to lift his heavy axe for even one more stroke. He is tired, and he is 52 years old. No experienced mountaineer would ever attempt the west face of the Shalliok Glacier, and yet this man is an experienced mountaineer. And why? Why? What strange events have conspired to bring him along the path of his life and leave him hanging now, in peril, on the brink of eternity? Through what shadows has that path led him? And where are those who saw him pass? Can we ourselves move along it? Move back step by step against the river of time? Move backward along the life path of Christopher Bell?
My name is Jean Vajour. I'm a guide for all the mountain trails on the Whitethorn and the Shalliok. I talked with Mr. Bell this morning as he was leaving the village. Though, of course, at the time I did not know that was his name. The season is over, you understand. Winter will come in another week or two, and most all the visitors are gone. So, you see, I was very surprised to hear a stranger call out to me in English.
Hello there. Which of these paths takes me to the foot of the Shalliok?
The one on the left. But you will find no chimney there, sir. One arrives very soon at the glacier and can go no farther.
Except, of course, to climb up it.
The glacier? But that is impossible. It has never been done.
Of course not. It's never been tried.
There is not anyone who would be so foolish, monsieur.
No, it isn't that. There are plenty of foolish people in the world. But even they hold on to their margin of safety.
Margin of safety?
Yes. The difference between the point where a man thinks he's reached his limit and the point where that limit really is.
I'm afraid I do not understand this.
All right. Take a mountaineer such as yourself. You look at a slope and you estimate the effort needed to climb it.
Yes.
Then you estimate your own endurance. And if there isn't a good size safety factor, just don't make the climb.
But it would be foolish not to do so.
I dare say. Oh, it's all tied up in the fear of death. You take that out of a man for one instant, there's no telling what he might be able to do, or what limit he might reach.
And how should a man lose that fear?
He can't. He can't lose it. It has to be done for him, by things outside.
He turned and left me then, this Mr. Bell, and walked up the path towards the glacier. That was early this morning, and I did not see him again. His talk with me made no sense, and I could not understand what he meant to do or why he was going to do it. I remember thinking, what a strange man. But I really know nothing more about it. I believe he arrived in the village only last night and took a room in the Zinal Inn.
My name is Greta de Gaspar, and I am staying out the week here in Zinal to close up the inn for the winter. I have known Mr. Bell for the last 30 years. Always before he came in the summer season for the climbing, and I was most surprised when he arrived last night. I opened one of the rooms and I found something for him to eat, and then later we sat and talked in front of the fire in the big empty lounge.
Now, this is very good coffee, Madame Gaspar.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Had you let me know you were coming, I would have had everything ready for you, just like all the other times.
Like all the other times. Now, this one's a little different, Madame Gaspar. You might call it a special visit.
Oh, it is all so different now from the old days. Then it was you and your madame would come here, and it was Gaspar and I. And the summers seemed to last forever.
I thought everything would last forever when she was alive.
Now I'm really alone in the world.
As am I. And it is not good to be alone. It gives one no reason for living.
But there may be stronger reasons for not wanting to live.
Is there something troubling you, Mr. Bell?
No, not now. There may have been, but not now. I shall be leaving quite early in the morning for a climb, so I think I'll go on to bed. Good night, Madame Gaspard.
Mr. Bell left the inn this morning before I wakened, and I have not seen him again. I have never known him to act so strange before. I have no idea what the reason is or what he may be planning to do, but I am sure something is troubling him. Perhaps it may be something connected with his business in London.
My name is Matthew Bruff. I've been chief clerk in Mr. Bell's London office over the past 25 years. I've always found him to be a considerate and dependable employer. I've never noticed anything you might call unusual about him until one day, about 3 weeks ago. Mr. Bell entered the establishment a bit late, as I recall, and passed immediately into his own office without acknowledging my customary greeting. A little while afterward, he sent for me.
Matthew, where do we go from here?
I can't say that I follow you, Mr. Bell.
I mean the company's on a steady footing, so if we use our heads at all, we don't stand much chance of losing anything.
Yes, our position is quite secure.
On the other hand, we can't expect to do any more growing. We're through expanding. From now on, it's merely a matter of operation.
Most enviable conditions, sir.
Is it? There's nothing more to look forward to, nothing more to work for. So, where do we go from here?
Sir,
Matthew, I'm putting you in charge of the business, turning it over to you effective this week.
Mr. Bell, you can't possibly mean that.
Yes, I've just decided.
But what are you going to do, sir?
I'm taking a trip. I'm going to Switzerland, maybe do a little mountain climbing.
Oh, well, then at least it's only temporary, just for whatever time you're gone.
Yes, that's right. For whatever time I'm gone. Just for whatever time I'm gone.
Before the end of the week, he had arranged all the necessary papers and had left London. I haven't heard a word from him since, though I presume he's somewhere in Switzerland. Actually, however, I haven't the faintest idea where Mr. Bell may be right at this moment.
On the glacier, minutes pass, and the shadows grow longer from the jagged peaks to the west of the Shaliot, and reach out with dark fingers toward the man who clings to the icy wall. The man's thoughts have grown as unwieldy as a heavy ice axe gripped in his hand. He keeps trying to remember that he is Christopher Bell, a human being, and not a part of this free and empty space. For he knows if he stops remembering that, he may forget all else too, and then let go.
There's been no reason for trying to locate Mr. Bell, since nothing very important has occurred during these 3 weeks. I'm sure he's quite all right. Only one thing still puzzles me a bit. The remarkable change in him on that morning 3 weeks ago. I never heard him talk like that before. And whatever the reason for it, I'm quite sure it was something that happened that morning before he came to the office.
My name is John Oxford. I've been a conductor on the Westminster route for some 14 years now. And during all that time, Mr. Bell has been a daily passenger of mine on the early morning inbound run. As I recall it, the first time anything you might say, well, out of the way ever happened between us was one morning about 3 weeks ago. I saw Mr. Bell waiting at the usual place, so I signaled the driver to a stop.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
I'll be right there.
Yeah, now, let me come down and help you up, sir.
I'll make it. If you'll just take my arm, sir. My arm, please.
But I
have taken it, Mr. Bell.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm sorry.
Here we go. Here we are, sir.
Oh, thank you. I had a bit of a shock this morning. I'm quite all right now.
Well, if it's all right now, then it's fine, I'd say. You take hold of that strap there now.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, just a moment. I have the fare here somewhere. Oh, yes. Here you are.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
Well, I don't quite understand what you mean, sir.
Mr. Huxford, have you ever had anyone take your arm and help you up a flight of steps?
No, and I might say I hope the day never comes when I'm sorry, sir.
Not at all. Thank you, Mr. Huxford. Thank you very much.
I don't rightly know what was wrong with him. Well, it's certain that something was. But I haven't seen him for nearly 3 weeks now. I can't imagine what it might have been that happened to him that morning before he got on the bus.
My name is Jenkins, and I've been Mr. Bell's personal valet for the past 12 years and 7 months. The master is traveling somewhere on the continent just at present. Been gone something over 2 weeks now. Decided rather suddenly, I believe. In fact, I rather think something happened one morning about 3 weeks ago that caused him to make up his mind, though I really haven't the faintest idea what it might have been. I can remember noticing a very strange look on his face when he came down to breakfast that morning, but I thought nothing of it at the time.
Good morning, Jenkins.
Good morning, sir. I trust you had a pleasant night's rest.
Oh, yes, I did. Thanks, Jenkins.
You'll be having the usual orange juice, toast?
No. I want nothing except some coffee.
Very well, sir. I'll bring it right away.
I can't let him find out. I can't let anyone find out about it. Maybe it's a little better now. Maybe it's going away. Maybe I'm giving it too much importance. No, it's still there, that same lack of feeling. Clear down the whole right side of my body. There. I can move my arms, my leg, all right. No feeling in them. They're numb. It's simply that at 52 years of age, I've had a light stroke.
Your coffee, sir.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
Would you care for something more, sir?
No, that's all.
If you'll pardon me, sir, you don't seem quite yourself this morning. I do hope you're not ill.
Oh, no, I'm quite all right, Jim.
I hope you won't mind my saying this, Mr. Bell, but you don't take very good care of yourself anymore.
Oh, now, Jack.
It's been years now since you had a checkup, sir. Not since the mistress passed away, in fact.
I'm quite all right, Jenkins. I'm quite all right.
Then, I'm relieved to hear it, sir. I'll bring your paper now.
Good Lord. Is this what a man saves his life away for, to end up helpless, dependent upon others, to be wheeled about, put out in the sun, taken in, like some great fat lava? Disgusting. But I've got to face it. This stroke is the first warning. There'll be others, worse ones. And in a short time, I'll be helpless. Oh, there must be some way out. Not suicide, but some way. There's got to be some way.
The icy wall hardens into cold, vitreous steel as the dust-born shadows chill its surface. The merciless ice is beginning to freeze the cramped joints of a man's fingers now, and a heavy axe swings idly at his belt, tracing a fumbling pattern on the thin air of the void. How much longer now can he cling to those slots in the glacier's space? How much longer does he have to live? 30 seconds? A minute? What's the margin of safety now? And what does a man think of while his pulse beats slower and he waits to die?
Strange how I'm able to go on hanging to this slope, clinging on to life, when I can't feel another ounce of strength left in me. I was right. Dying isn't so bad, really. Not when it's like this. It's rather pleasant, in fact. It looks so soft down there. The shadows and the snow. And the wind.
Perhaps I could let go and float out in the wind like an eagle, be blown along by it like drifting snow. The sun's gone now. It's full dark in a few minutes. Maybe I can hold on that long, till everything is dark, even the snow and the ice. Who knows? Perhaps I'll watch the sunrise tomorrow and set again. And even beyond... No. I can't last even one full minute longer. I'm through. I'm finished. I can't even last a half a minute. Chips of ice sliding over the edge. Funny how a glacier sheds off that way. I suppose the difference in temperature between day and... Wait. An ice axe. That was an axe. No other sound in the world like it. Fell from up above the overhang there. Must be somebody up there on the slopes, coming down from the top. There it is. Wait, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a mountaineer's call for help. Someone stopped his axe and he's in trouble up there. It's right above this bulge. If I can only... No. Throat's too dry. Well, 6 more steps to cut to reach the edge there. All right. 6 more steps. Now, 5 more steps. Just about does it. The last step.
Hey! Cut the rope! And let me go! There's no use! Let go!
Oh, Lord. It's a woman. Hold on there. I'll be with you in a minute.
Somebody's coming! There's someone down here!
Now, over the edge. Take it easy there. Everything's going to be all right.
Oh, thank heaven. I don't know where you came from, but thank heaven you're here.
Yeah. Easy now. Let's get a step out for your feet here. I was just below the overhang there. Heard the fellow up above call out. He's got quite a voice on him.
My husband. Oh, please, Harry.
Easy now. Have a step out here in a second. You can put your feet on it. You get your breath. Then we'll tackle the slope. There now. Now just go this ice away. Easy there. Oh, that's better.
Oh, yes. Oh.
You're all right now. You just lean there. And when you feel like it, we'll go on up. Oh, my name is Christopher Bell, by the way.
I'm a god. Oh, thank you. I thought we were done. I was cutting steps down ahead in the slope, and I slipped and dropped my axe. The rope held me, but neither of us dared to move.
Well, you're all right now. As soon as you rest a minute, we'll cut some more steps back up the slope. You shouldn't have started down this way. You'd never have been able to pass that bulge.
Yes, I can see that now. Of course, it's harder to tell when you're moving down slope.
Yes, I suppose it is.
You were coming up the slope, weren't you?
Yes, I came up from the foot.
Alone and without a rope, and you deliberately climb onto the underside of an overhanging wall.
Let's just say we're both foolhardy.
Is that what you call it?
Well, if you've got your breath back now, suppose we start up the slope.
My name is Bertha Golland, and I'm the husband of the woman who slipped and fell on the wall of the glacier. I'm a physician, formerly of Harley Street, London. I've practiced in Paris for several years now. I met Mr. Bell when he and my wife reached the ice ledge where I stood waiting above them. I was not immediately aware of his trouble, but found out about it a short time later when we reached the rest hut at the top of the ridge. While my wife heated water for tea at the far side of the room, Bell and I fell into a much more personal conversation than strangers normally do. This sometimes happens when people have been very close to death.
At any rate, Dr. Garland, you can see how it is. The life of an invalid doesn't seem very appealing to me.
Tell me something, Mr. Bell. I gather you were pretty well done in when I called out that glacier. Couldn't lift a hand. Then how do you account for being able to chop 6 steps into that ice in a matter of some 5 minutes?
I don't know exactly. I was through. I couldn't have lasted 30 seconds more. But when I realized somebody was in danger, I forgot about it.
And this numbness, this lack of feeling in your right side, didn't bother you?
No, I didn't notice. It isn't quite so bad even now.
There's your answer, Mr. Bell.
I don't believe I follow you.
Action. When you were in action, working because you had a reason, living because you had to, because somebody was depending on you, then you were all right. Everything was back in its place again.
Perhaps. But a man can't spend all his time climbing up a mountain.
Oh, I don't mean physical action, movement. Call it incentive if you like. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Incentive, huh?
It's the one top pressure that keeps life moving and growing. And it's what you need.
Well, it's an interesting theory, Doctor.
It's only a theory,
I'll have the tea ready in a moment. Anybody interested?
I am, my dear. Lucky we brought it.
If no one minds, I believe I'll have a turn outside while we're waiting.
Be careful out there in the dark. The ridge breaks off pretty sharply.
Oh, I'll be careful. Dr. Garland, if things were turned around, I wonder if it'd be any more than just a theory to you. I'm over here, Mrs. Garland.
Beautiful, isn't it? With the stars so clear and bright.
Yes. Well, there won't be many more clear nights before the winter storms.
It would be a shame to give it up, you and I.
What do you mean?
I've got to say this quickly. We're not the kind to commit suicide, you and I.
What?
You deliberately climbed into a dead end out on that glacier. And I did the same thing. I went ahead and I picked the route down that slope. No, wait. In 30 seconds, I would have cut myself loose from that rope. Oh, we went to an awful lot of trouble so we wouldn't have to call it suicide.
You? Why?
I have a brain condition. There's no point in going into it, but it's incurable. Sooner or later, at any moment, I shall go blind.
Oh, no.
My husband doesn't know about it, and I don't want him to know. I'll make a bargain with you.
What sort of bargain?
I'm not brave, really. To go on living, I need something to cling to. I need to know all the time that there's someone else with courage, too. Mr. Bell, I'll go on living if you will.
I'd say you're amazingly brave.
If I were, I could do it alone, without having to make myself dependent on you and on your courage.
That sort of thing would work both ways. I wouldn't dare let you down.
Nor could I you. Do you want to make that bargain? Shall we go on living, Mr. Bell?
As I said before, I am Dr. Greta Garland. I met Mr. Bell some 3 hours ago on the Chaliot Glacier. At the moment, he's outside the hut, a few yards away, talking to my wife. I can hear the sound of their voices, but I can't make out the words. However, I know what they're talking about, what his answer would be. My wife and I discussed that before she went to join him. You may have heard of my wife, incidentally, so it would likely have been under the stage name she uses in the Paris Theatre. You see, she's quite a talented actress.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. And tonight brought to you Action by C.E. Montague.
Adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and featuring Joseph Kearns as Christopher Bell and Eric Rolfe as the voice, with Louis Van Ruten as Dr. Golan, Marta Mitrovich as Greta, Jeff Corey as Bruff, Ray Lawrence as Huckford, Barry Kroger as Jenkins, and Joan Banks as Mrs. Golan. The musical score was conceived and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Next week,
you are trapped in the dark maze of the native quarter of Mozambique. A dead man at your feet, the police closing in around you. And beside you is a girl with whom you must escape.
Next week, we escape with Percival Gibbons' fast-moving adventure, Second Class Passenger. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.